All right, we are live. We are live. We are live. What is going on, everybody? Shout out to everybody in the building. We about to be getting into this thing. Had a definitely excellent show yesterday. Highly recommend that one. It kind of went down a spontaneous path where something that I planned to talk about ended up being the main topic. I knew it was interesting. It ended up being more interesting than what I even thought once we really dug into it, and then things kind of got weird and went left. Not too far left, but just yeah. But great show yesterday. I definitely recommend that one if you have not seen it. It's the one we're talking about 12-year-old girls that were basically talking about 12-year-old girls got interviewed and they was essentially saying they didn't need no, they can have a baby without a man. They don't need no man. It, it was weird. It was weird. But anyway, I digress. We are here. We are in the show today. A Tupac documentary is coming out. Well, as we going to find out in in the research here is that Tupac's biological father said that the documentary he agreed to speak in the documentary because he thought it was about a documentary about Tupac. And he said that he found out that it was actually about Dear Mama. And it was almost like a backhanded, sarcastic, you know. He referred to her as Dear Mama. So it's like some backhanded stuff going on in there. But we about to get into it. So strap on in. Yeah, I see you, SKC. Strap on in. Let's get ready to go. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
What's up? What's going on? What's going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? We are back. We are back in the building. We are back in the building. One second. All right. We in here. Shout out to everybody in the building. Appreciate each and every one of you for coming on in today. Real quick shout outs before we get into it. Shout out to RM, as she always says, hit that like button on your way in. Definitely you want to hit that like button on your way in. Jamar Roulette says made it right on time. Unfortunately, the host was not on time. So it don't matter how on time you are over here. If you're on time, you're here before me. All right. Emmett Perry in the building says, wait, that's his real dad. Yes. That is his real biological dad. It's actually more, he's been speaking more than what you probably think. A lot of people have been trying to interview him, and he, picky about interviews, but there are people who he's sat down and talked with. So it's actually a lot of clips out there of him talking about Tupac. But the funny thing is, there's that line in the Tupac song, Dear Mama, where Tupac says, no love for my father, something. Shoot, I forgot the lyrics. The coward wasn't there. He passed away and I didn't cry. Y'all know, because my anger wouldn't let me feel for a stranger. Y'all know it. He passed away and I didn't cry because my anger wouldn't let me feel for a stranger. But lo and behold, dude is alive. So it should make you ask the question, well, why did Tupac think that he was dead? If you know my channel, you already know where this thought process is going. Did dear mama tell Tupac that his biological dad was dead when she knew he was alive? Did dear mama lie and tell Tupac that his biological father was dead? We're going to get into that. Well, I mean, the interviews kind of tell it all. There are some things you kind of got to infer, but let's go. Emmett Perry says, I thought he was dead too. Omega Dreads in the building says, back when I was growing up, I started to think, could the fathers really be alive, but out of spite, hurt, and further and further segregate? Many B-dubs just said the daddy was dead. Very, very possible. Very possible. Jamar Roulette says, yes, that makes sense. Shout out to LB Crypto in the building. Says 3 sides to every story. Shout out to who else we got in here. Shout out to trying to think. You got more? No, I saw more people in here. SKC in the building says, had fun, BR. Wasn't trying to straw man you, but you were. You were. No, you have a way of going about things to be as charitable as possible. You have a way of going about things where I don't know, it's like a lightweight diet Sith mentality. Like if somebody's not 100% with you, they must be against you. I think you got a lot of Sith in you in that regard. I don't know. It just seems it because like we're like 95% with each other. The only 5% is I don't do full exclusionary based off skin color. Like I know healthy black families. I know the culture is messed up and don't produce them on a massive scale, but I know that they exist. But there's no large scale mass prescription that I can write involving black people. It's like that's a later conversation. I ain't trying to get into that. RW in the building. Shout out to you. Who else we got in here? Dick and Dave said SKC, the end of that stream last night about Flint Council had me LMAO. I didn't see that. Too damn snazzy says CPT. I'm probably missing some people. Theo in the building. Shout out to Theo. He says my mother did. Oh wow, my mother did this also. She said my black father died. Wow. God damn. That's bad. Yeah, we about to get into that. We about to get into that whole thing. Hood Conservative said, didn't Tupac say his daddy passed away and I didn't cry because my anger wouldn't let me feel for a stranger? All right. We about to go ahead and get into that. Let me throw the headsets on because a lot of people I ain't supposed to slow fade out the music. I think you just pulled the plug. You just yanked the cord out the wall on that one. All right. Let's go ahead and get into it. It's a number of number of angles, number of different directions we could go with this. There's stuff that's already kind of been out there, like I said. Let me play this. Hold on real quick.
Had lied to Tupac in regards to who his real father was, a man by the name of Billy Garland. Mr. Garland was in Vegas.
Looked like him too.
Mr. Garland was at the hospital. Mr. Garland was at Jasmine's guy's house.
He was shot in various spots all over his body, growing, arm.
He gave me an abundance of information.
And then he went like that, and of course, I knew he was my son.
Right there, he talking about because it was said that Tupac was shot in the nuts or something like that. So he like showed him his dick to let him know he wasn't shot in the junk. But yeah, but the takeaway from there, is that dear old mama, told him it's messed up. She told him that his dad was dead. Now, I didn't play the videos exactly in probably the best order, but the fact of the matter is, it was a long period of time where they didn't see each other, where Tupac grew up thinking he was dead. They basically met and saw each other again for the first time after Tupac got shot. When Tupac got shot, that's when they saw each other again. We're going to get into that. I'm going to play the clips on that, and I'm going to get into the main interview that's coming out sort of in conjunction with the Dear Mama series, because it's going to be a Dear Mama docuseries, a documentary, like a 5-part documentary. We're going to get into that. And Tupac's dad didn't like the way that the documentary, how it went. He thought it was just going to be about Tupac. Then he found out from the guy who made it. He found out that it was going to be called Dear Mama, and it was actually about, as he called her, Dear Mama. And he didn't like that. He's no fan of that. So had he known all that, he would not have participated in it. So because of that, he decided to do, an interview with another individual, just so he can get his clear words out there in a way that's not really edited. But anyway, let's get back into it.
The actual birth certificate of Tupac Shakur.
I didn't know that.
Paris Lesane Crooks, which was his given birth name.
Paris Lesane Crooks. That nigga named Parrish. Did not know that. 1971.
He was trying to get at Tupac, but people were giving him the runaround. But he told me that, hey, they got together, and, Tupac told him that he loved him, and, they rekindled their relationship.
So embedded in there, he's saying he was trying to get at him, trying to get to him. They was giving him a run around. Now, here's the thing, and we're going to talk about this a little more, because things were a little different back in the back in the 70s. Oh, dang. Okay, I remember you saying you did slow fade it out. I was just putting on my headsets. Okay, all right. In my headsets, it looked like you just yanked the cords out. So we gonna get into that, because it was different times in the 70s. It's easier to find somebody now. It was hard to find somebody then. There's part of it where we can nitpick and say, man, he was, I think, gone, like he went like 15 years without seeing him. He went 15 years without seeing him, and he's saying that they was making it hard for him. So we'll get into that as the show goes on. We'll get into that as the show goes on. But I imagine that 1975, if somebody disappear out of your life, they're probably hard to find. But at the same time, if you got somebody's government name, you probably can find them. It probably takes some investigation, probably takes some money. But I think you can find somebody if you really try. But we're gonna get into all of that.
Afeni had lied to Tupac in regards to who his real father was.
All right. Let's get into it.
So there's a new 5-part docuseries on Tupac about to drop.
My name is Tupac.
Hold on, that ain't necessarily the one I want to play just yet.
Father was your biological father?
I still don't know who it is, for sure.
But they had said that he had his testicles shot up. And the first time I went to visit him after that, he made it a point to show me that he did not have his testicles shot off. And then he went like that, and of course, I knew he was my son.
I've never taken any blood tests. The guy who I knew was my father, who claimed to be my father, he passed away, he died.
And is that legs?
Yes, but then recently after I got shot, this other guy came, was like he was my father, and he looks like me. He been in the jail to see me. His kids look like me.
Well, what was that like?
That was the bug out of me. I just woke up and he was standing over me. So
in jail?
When I was in the hospital.
Oh really? You wanna?
I don't wanna. No, I don't wanna touch on that.
And what did he? I mean, do you believe him?
I do in a way because he looks like me, and his kids look like me.
Why don't you get?
I did not make that coffee quite right. Yeah. So the plot thickens. Clearly there was a deliberate attempt. To obscure who the biological father was, if he believed that somebody else was his father. And I think I'm hearing it differently now from what I understood it before. So I'm actually going to run that back. It sounds like he's saying that the man who he thought was his father died, that he wasn't told that his biological father died, it sounds like the man who he thought was his biological father must have died.
Father?
I still don't know who it is, for sure.
But they had said that he had his testicles shot up. And the first time not have his testicles shot off, and then he went like my son.
I've never taken any blood tests. The guy who I knew was my father, who claimed to be my father, he passed away, he died.
And is that legs?
Yes, but then recently after I got shot, this other guy came, was like he was my father, and he looks like me. He been in the jail to see me. His kids look like me.
Well, what was that like?
That was the bug out of me. I just woke up and he was standing over me. So
in jail?
When I was in the hospital.
Oh really? You wanna?
I don't wanna. No, I don't wanna touch on that.
And what did he? I mean, do you believe him?
That got to be crazy. You just got shot. You in the hospital. You laying there in the hospital bed, and some man that you thinking that your dad is dead, but some man who looked just like you is standing over you after you just got shot in the hospital bed. Depending on how your spirituality is set up, you think you would think that must mean you died. If you think your dad dead, you just got shot. You open your eyes in a hospital room and you seeing an older man who you thought who looks just like you. It's like, oh shit, God damn it, I'm dead. I'm seeing my ancestors. Like that had to be real trippy and fucked up. That I can't even imagine what that one was like. He probably thought he was a dude in heaven. Yeah. He thought he was seeing his ancestors. Had to.
The only problem is, all right.
Hold up.
So there's a new 5-part docuseries on Tupac about to drop.
My name is Tupac Shakur.
The only problem is, it's directed by one of his enemies.
He's a performing arts kid, and he's delusional.
In 1993, the Hughes brothers hired Tupac to star in their debut movie, Menace to Society.
What you say about my mama?
However, Tupac was fired during the rehearsal stage by Alan Hughes, resulting...
Tupac was gonna play O-Dog in Menace to Society, for those that don't know. He would have killed that role, but I'm glad he didn't get it because, Lorenz Tate did a good job.
...an an altercation that landed Tupac in jail after Hughes pressed charges. The dispute between the two remained unresolved until Tupac's death in 1996.
Rap star Tupac Shakur.
Tupac left control of his estate to his mother Afeni. However, she passed in 2016, leaving control of her son's estate in the hands of this man, Tom Wally. But ever since he gained control of Tupac's estate, we've seen a series of questionable decisions. And most recently, Tupac's sister sued Tom Wally for embezzling $5.5 million from the estate. He also refused to hand over her late brother and mother's personal items that were left to her. So it begs the question, would Tupac want Allen Hughes telling his life story?
That's another part of it, that in the most recent interview that his dad did, that I'm about to play the clips of, he basically was saying that he didn't like where it went. The guy, like the video that I just played more or less laid out that him and Tupac wasn't cool. Y'all saw the video of the guy, Allen Hughes. I think that's the guy that he directed Menace to Society and everything. He was basically saying Tupac was a delusional bipolar myth maker or whatever. There are people that have done that. They've questioned Tupac's thug bona fides. A lot of people do that, you know. You're a performing arts kid, you know, you're performing like a thug. It may be something to that. People say that Tupac, you know, was, you know, a unique individual. One moment he a Black Panther, one moment he a revolutionary. Other minute, you know, he's on some other shit, on some thug stuff. One, you know, it's like he's an individual that's he's a unique individual. He's a unique individual. I don't know. I won't go as far to say studio thug, but I think that's what the director of this documentary, in addition to the documentary not being about Tupac, being about his mom, that was one criticism. Then the other criticism is that this person didn't even like Tupac, and he's, you know, the first question that he asked Tupac's dad, he was like, you know, do you think Tupac was bipolar? Like, so it's already slanted in a way. Now, this is the last clip I'm gonna play before I get into the actual main course interview.
I saw my son Tupac was in a hospital bed in Las Vegas, Nevada. The guy just hooked up to his ear, his nose, his eyes, his testicles, his toes.
Now, that bald head, man, he really looked like him.
Metal zippers up and down his body from when surgery had been taken as part of his body out. So you would have half-hour visits and you would just sit there, and the doctor said that he could possibly hear you and that you could talk to him, but he just cannot answer. So that's what I did. I would sit in the hospital room and talk to myself and put chapstick on his lips because the respirator made it very chapped.
I thought my father was dead for all my life.
Really?
After I got shot, I looked up and there was this nigga looked dead on me, and he was my father, so I found out. These things ain't no blood test, but I mean, a nigga looked like me, and then the other is dead. So to me, it's like I'm past the father thing. You know what I mean? But I do want to know him, and I do know him. We do talk.
All right. So there it is right there. Yeah, calling Afeni Shakur. I saw somebody, saw some people calling Afeni Shakur a BMT. Shout out to Mr. Palmer. That's baby mama terrorist. Donnie Draco. That's the interview that I'm playing next. That's the interview that I'm about to play next. I was just doing a little preliminary stuff that was already out there prior to this interview. Doing a little preliminary stuff, but I'm about to get right into that one. About to definitely dig right into that one. But yeah, that's sort of the backstory gist of it. This stuff has already been out there on the internet, floating around. Like, the internet is a weird place. Like, you know, you go down rabbit holes, you find all kind of stuff you didn't know exists. So definitely, give me a second. Definitely, yeah, the Mac Trucker said she's a baby mama terrorist. It's something to that. It's something to that, you know, this man is alive and well, and Tupac was never made aware of his existence. It is something to that. But all right. All right, let's get into it. Now we're about to hear him speak more uninterrupted. All right, let's go.
Welcome to the Art of Dialogue. Thank you for coming. We have a very special guest today by the name of, you know what? I'm not going to introduce you. I'm going to let you introduce yourself to the world. A very hard guy to interview and get in touch with. It's my pleasure to have you here. Introduce yourself.
My name is William Garland. I'm the biological father of Tupac Shakur.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate you.
It's my pleasure to be here, brother.
So we're going to get right into it. And you know, so recently you were involved with the Dear Mama docuseries. How did you become involved with that project?
Alan Hughes asked me to do an interview. He didn't tell me it was about Dear Mama. He didn't tell me too much of anything except that it was about Tupac. And after some persuasion, because I denied him that interview. I didn't want to do no interviews because every time I did an interview, it was always taken out of light. Everything that I said was taken out of context.
Now, he said it one time, but it's going to be a reoccurring thing. Whenever he refers to Tupac's mama, he says, dear, he calls her Dear Mama. He said, I thought it was going to be about Tupac. They didn't tell me it was going to be about Dear Mama. It's like, it just sounds like that's like a subtle shade. It sounds like that's a subtle shade that he only refers to her as Dear Mama.
So I was very reluctant, but he persuaded me and I did it. We did an interview about 2 hours. After I saw the interview in the movie or the documentary, I was slightly disappointed. Let's just say that.
So do you feel like they took your interview out of context or projected you in a certain light that you didn't agree with?
More so than anything that I could have ever conceived. I didn't like it, to be honest with you. I thought it was more about something else than about Tupac, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay.
If I knew it was about Dear Mama, I might have still did it, but I probably wouldn't have, not for nothing.
So basically what you're saying is he did not
Dane C is saying in Dear Mama, Tupac said, and by the way, he referred to her as Dear Mama. See, the documentary is not about the song Dear Mama. Every time he's saying Dear Mama, he's talking about Tupac's mama. He only refers to her as Dear Mama. He's taking jabs. Dane C says in Dear Mama, Tupac said his father died. Yes, we talked about that. You know, he passed away and I didn't cry because my anger wouldn't let me feel for a stranger. Apparently, he was led to believe his dad was dead. The story is kind of confusing. There was somebody who she told him was his dad. That person died. And then so he just like, okay, my dad's dead. But apparently the biological father, she never told him about. And she knew he existed because he said last time he had been, I mean, it wasn't like she just had a drunk one night stand. No, you said he was around Tupac when Tupac was 3 years old. So it was sometime when he was there and then something happened and he wasn't there. We'll get into that. So it's no question, it's no doubt whatsoever that she knew, I mean, she knew of this man's existence, but then she kept it from Tupac. That just is what it is. That just is what it is. He found Tupac later when he was older. And we're going to get into, he's going to be asked the direct question. Why were you away or gone for 15, 16 years or so? They're going to ask him the direct question.
Tell you that it was going to be about Afeni Shakur?
Not at all. And that the foundation wasn't in charge and behind it.
Okay. Wow. So overall, Allen Hughes, in dealing with him, Allen Hughes called Tupac a delusional myth maker. This was prior to the documentary coming out in an interview. And he compared Snoop to Tupac and saying that Snoop was gangster and somehow Tupac wasn't. But to the contrary, when Snoop inducted Tupac into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Snoop said Tupac was a revolutionary, and more so than anything, he was gangster. So it kind of went against what Allen Hughes was trying to say. If you had heard that Allen Hughes had called Tupac a delusional myth maker, do you think that you would have still done the documentary?
Definitely not.
Okay.
Now, I'll say this real quick. It's wrong to make a documentary about Tupac and you got full creative control of the documentary, and that's the opinion and view you have of him. I think you should take your hands off of it. You know, you are entitled to have your opinion and have your view, but if somebody is making a documentary about somebody, it shouldn't be like a crusade or a hit piece. Unless, of course, no, I can't say that because I ain't mind Candace Owens doing well, it's only a hit piece if you're lying. But I was about to say I didn't mind Candace Owens doing a hit piece on BLM. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just biased and just don't like that he's doing that. But it's something to it when you average into the equation that Tupac was a performing arts student. He was an actor, so to speak. Like he grew up in the hood, but it's not no major record that he was out there just really like gang banging like that, you know. So there's something to that, you know. He's an actor, so a lot of people have argued or made the point that the character, the person that we saw as Tupac was the character that he was portraying. I think a lot of people have made that point, but they just don't make it that loud. So I can't knock somebody making a documentary where they're conveying that message. You know, Tupac was very smart, very intellectual, had a revolutionary Black Panther type of mindset and all of that. Then in 1 minute he a thug, 1 minute he a Black Panther, 1 minute he's saying one thing, 1 minute he's saying another thing. So it's like he's kind of all over the place. That's what a lot of people have said about Tupac, that he's, you know, he's all over the place. But let's go ahead and get into it. Well, this is his dad giving his opinion on that.
And watching the documentary, one of the first questions I believe he asked, which kind of broke my heart, was, do you believe Tupac was bipolar? I resented that based on the fact that here was a kid that came up with nothing. He had absolutely nothing. He had some success. He had that success taken away from him when he went to jail on them flimsy false charges. To be shot.
Yeah, I just thought about it. The term Me Too wasn't really out back then, but Tupac did technically get Me Too. Didn't he get accused of raping a chick who was giving him head in a club? Didn't that happen? If my memory serves right, I think. Let me know in the chat room. I know somebody remember the story, but didn't something like that happen?
Once 5 times by Black people. To be shot once 5 times by Black people. To be shot again 4 times later on in Vegas by, we're not too sure, but we believe Black people were involved with other people. Bipolar doesn't fit. How can you be bipolar when people do things to you that make you or changes the way that you believe in them. He believed in black people. He loved black people.
Uh-oh. Reoccurring theme this is. Quite the reoccurring theme this is. Black people who have a pro-black mentality reach a certain amount of success. Same thing happened with Ice Cube. He didn't want to move out the hood. He loved his people. He got that money. He wanted to stay in the hood, be an example, a beacon of light for his people, and they robbed his ass. Tupac loved his people. They shot him on multiple occasions. It's like, we be talking all this stuff about white people, but the people that end up doing your dirtiest in your actual life, not in some data or some history or some broader macro stats or whatever. No, I'm talking about in your actual life. The people who've done you the dirtiest tend to be people of your same skin color. I got to get out of the chat room. Hold on. Let me get out of the chat room. All right. I see stuff going on in the chat room. Trying to manage the chat. It looked like y'all did confirm my story. Yeah, I don't know what the hell you talking about. Donnie Draco said Tupac was guilty. He let the homies hit. But y'all are saying, yep, BR, yep. Yeah, y'all are confirming my memory. Y'all are confirming my memory of that he was on trial for. That he was on trial for grape for something very, very flimsy. All right, Dane C says, the woman said Tupac allowed the homies to grape. That don't sound weird to you? The woman said Tupac allowed the homies to grape. Was he judge, jury, and executioner on who gets to grape somebody and who doesn't? Like how? Like I'm sitting here trying to figure out how that story makes sense. Like, was he on trial for witnessing a crime and not reporting? Was he just in the room smoking a cigarette? Like, if a woman is, it's very possible if you with somebody and let's just say that a woman is being raped and she's being raped by your friends and you just in there just chilling smoking a cigarette. Yeah, you could argue that you participated in it. But what it sounds like to me is that she basically let the homies hit. Tupac didn't even hit. She wanted to say that that it was something going on. That sounds like to me that Tupac didn't even hit it, but his homies did. So she's gonna try to get a proxy case. She's trying to get a proxy case going. It was no DNA. There's no DNA of Tupac there, but she's trying to get him on something. Dane C is saying she said Tupac called him in the room. Tupac called them in the room. So Tupac basically said, "Hey, y'all, come on, come grape this woman." That sounds flimsy, but listen, it's an old story. It's 26 years old, I think. Probably even older. I don't know. I haven't read it. I haven't been around it in a while. I haven't seen that story in a while. It just sounds flimsy. I'll just say that. It sounds flimsy. Let me get back into it though. Yep, that's what it sounds like, Patrick St. James. It sounds like they ran a train and she put it on him. Sounds like they ran a train and she put it on him, the person who didn't even do it, who wasn't even a participant. Yeah, that all sounds weird. Dame C on that believe all women energy. All right, let's get back at it.
He would do anything for black people. And then to have that betrayal, to have people talk about him, call him a rapist, a rapist, to have him say things that were truly unbelievable. And it hurt him. He couldn't believe that he was betrayed that way. He couldn't believe that people saw him in that light. So he would flare up. He would have his mood change, but who wouldn't? Imagine any human being going through those degrees of emotion. I think you would get different degrees of reactions, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
You know, it's just that way. He was hurt. In prison, he told me he was hurt.
When Tupac was shot at Quad Studios, where were you when you got the news?
I was home in Jersey City, and my friend Phil Webb, the police officer, he just started. And I hadn't seen Pac, and he knew about Pac. He saw Pac when he was a kid. I used to bring him over to Jersey City. He used to spend the night with me and my other kids. Used to sleep in the bunk beds with the kids. And he had called me and said that he had heard Tupac got shot. And I hadn't heard of it. And I looked on the news, and in fact, he had. I had been trying to reach Tupac for a long time. I was talking to his publicist, and she was telling me that certain.
I don't know why this video is lagging like that. It's annoying the hell out of me. But long story short, hopefully I caught everything just fine. Just fine. But she's talking. He said he's basically been talking to the publicist, been trying to reach him, trying to get at him, and so forth.
And she was telling me that certain people, well, Afeni had said that she had talked to Tupac and had told him that I wanted to meet him or see him after all the years of absence. And she told me that Pac wasn't ready, that he needed more time. Well, unfortunately, later I found out that this wasn't true, that no one had told Pac that I was available, that I was around, that I was his father. So that kind of hurt, if you know what I'm saying. That hurt a lot.
So at the age, you spoke about the age just
around, that I
backing
was
it up a
father.
little bit.
So that kind of hurt, if you know what I'm saying. That hurt a lot.
So at the age, you spoke about the age just a minute ago when Tupac would come over and sleep in the bunk beds.
He was about 3.
He was 3 years old.
Yeah, maybe about 2 or 3.
He was 2
and I took him to play basketball. And all my friends thought it was my other son, Carlos Malik. I had 6 beautiful kids, Landon, Carlos, and Nika, who just passed 2 months ago.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, heart attack. That's a hard one. Takira and my youngest son, Billy Jr. So I have 6. Now I have 4. No person should lose a child. Definitely no person should lose 2 children.
Absolutely.
But he was 2, and no, he was 3 actually. So we would play ball. We played professional, semi-pro ball all over the East Coast. We were very good at it. Rucker tournaments, we were very good at it. But I took him to the gym, and all the guys said, "Is that Malik?" They were, because he looked so much like the rest of the kids. And I said, "No, that's Tupac." And they said, "Oh, okay." So I think that might have been one of the last few times he stayed with me, because he would come over.
All right, and I'm about to swap that one out and put in and use another file. So give me a quick second. Give me a quick second, y'all.
Hold up.
Because this
Spend some time with us, maybe a week or so.
This is acting terrible.
Man.
All right, we are ready to go now. All right, we're ready to go. This one should play a lot better and not be choppy, because that was annoying the hell out of me. All right.
What age was Tupac when you lost contact with him?
He had. It doesn't really matter. I just thought it was cute that the fact that, in fact, he did maybe pissed a bit. Spend the night with the kids and staff. Spend some time with us, maybe a week or so. And one little incident too. They were all together. The boys had the bunk beds. The girl had her own room, Nika. But somebody peed the bed. Just little humor. And we don't know who peed the bed. And we always said it was Pop, but it doesn't really matter. I just thought it was cute that the fact that, in fact, he did maybe piss the bed, just like his dad used to do when he was a kid. So there you go.
Interesting. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. What age was Tupac when you lost contact with him?
He had to be, I used to go over to the Bronx, Morningside. I used to visit him. Not as much though. When the party broke up, it was something different. COINTEL had changed us. COINTEL had us looking at each other suspiciously. There had been a couple murders, Panther on Panther murder. That's when everybody went to the 4 winds. They just scattered. Everybody went their different ways. And I was one of those who went a different way. I lost contact with Afeni, which later I found out she had moved to Baltimore, then Oakland. You see, so it was, I'd say maybe 13, 14 years, a gap of not seeing my son. People say, well, why didn't you look for him? I didn't know where. And then it was something that I wish I had more so. But nobody lived in stationary locations. We all moved. We had apartments. Even when we were in the Panthers, we had apartments throughout all the Bronx, all of Manhattan. We were like, you know, gypsies, not so much in that sense, but in the way we lived, we moved around a lot. So I went to a couple places, but nobody had seen her. They told me someone had moved to Baltimore, so I accepted that. And there was nothing I could do about it at that time. You know, I wasn't as stable as I had wanted to be. So what are you gonna do?
And in the docuseries, there was a
long story short, it sounded like that when they start moving all around, and like you said, he wasn't as stable as he needed to be. They was over there, he was over there, and like no matter how you explain it, there's a certain degree of fuck it. It's not too many ways of getting around that. I try to give men, the benefit of the doubt. There are certain situations, but at the end of the day, if he wanted to, he could have, but there's a certain era of fuck it. If a woman skipped town and moved to a different state and you stationary in the state, you don't got ability to be traveling and moving all over the world. You probably was broke and making just enough to get by, and they on the other side of the country. Hey, fuck it. That's what it sounded like. What happened? That's what it sounded like. Was what happened right there. That still don't negate the fact that Tupac made it all the way to adulthood, where she actively would have had to basically deny the existence of somebody, or have Tupac thinking that somebody else was his biological dad, and then that man died, and Tupac believed that was his dad. And she knows that this man who used to, like he said, used to be spending time with him when he was about 3 years old, exists, and she deleted him from existence, and he didn't reinsert himself. Because if Tupac make it all the way to adulthood, not knowing of this man's existence, it's like there was clearly a deliberate denial of information, a withholding of information by the mother. That was clearly a deliberate withholding of information.
Part where Alan Hughes basically said he mentioned a number of addresses that Afeni had potentially moved to throughout that time. Do you think that was one of the things that probably prevented you also from finding out where Tupac was at?
Yeah, no doubt.
Right.
Yeah, it was just that way. I haven't seen members of the Black. Yeah, no doubt.
Probably addresses that Afeni had potentially moved to. Number of the part where Alan Hughes basically said he mentioned a number of addresses that Afeni had potentially moved to throughout that time. Do you think that was one of the things that probably prevented you also from finding out where Tupac was at?
Yeah, no doubt.
Right.
Yeah, it was just that way. I haven't seen members of the Black Panther Party to this day. Men I had slept, and women I had slept in the same cadre with. Wherever you went, you sat, you slept. You went to the Bronx, you went down to DC, you went to Philly, you went to Memphis. Wherever you went, you stayed at the Panther cadre house. They gave you a gun and you slept, and when you got up, you went to do your business. So it was a situation where I don't think I could have located them, even if I wanted to be honest with you.
When did you?
One thing, when I was trying to fix the quality issues, one thing that skipped by, we start talking about part of the reason why the Panthers broke up. They started not trusting each other after all that stuff was going on with the feds, people snitching and people doing this, and people within the Panthers then killed each other and all kind of stuff like that. Is even when you look at the Nation of Islam and how what happened with that, with the whole thing with Malcolm X, it's like, if you watch that documentary on, damn it, I'm forgetting the person's name, the Black Messiah, Judah and the Black Messiah. What's the name? Fred Hampton. You watch that movie on Fred Hampton, where the guy from Get Out was playing Fred Hampton. Did a damn good job. He killed that role. It's always some internal shit that goes on that ultimately ends up ruining, strong Black organizations. There's always some internal shit that's going on where somebody is doing some fuck shit. Always ends up happening. But it is a real thing in the 70s. If somebody is moving around a lot and you stationary and you don't got the money, the resources to be, it's people were harder to find back then. People were harder to find back then. You talking about after the Panthers broke up, after all the bullshit, it just became really hard to find people. So I give him some credit on that one.
You first recognized Tupac again after losing contact with him. I believe it was a juice poster or something like that.
My boy, same guy, called me up and said, I just saw a movie, and the guy's name was Tupac Shakur. And I'm looking at this poster, and if you looked at the poster, kind of looked like me, in the poster because he's in the front, but he really didn't look like me until you went to the movies. And then when I went to the movies, I saw him, and I was sitting in the theater, and I started crying, and I'm sure people next to me must have been, why is this grown man crying in this movie? But they had no idea. I was seeing my son after 15 years on the big silver screen, and it gave me joy and happiness to see him. That's when I initially tried to contact him. And my concern was that he was my son, and I just wanted him to know that his dad was available. But people aren't always as honest as you think they are, my brother. They don't always tell the truth. You know, they don't always. Broke my heart, because these are people that I was willing to die with. You understand? That I struggled with. And I don't know. It just broke my heart. It broke my heart.
Wow. Amazing.
Shout out to Salty Balls in the building, says Dine One Lizzo of coinage from Chest of Treasures reigneth down from the aethers to the even-tempered rhetoric. Rhetoric. I think it means rhetorician who hails from the province of Wolverines in industry. and industry. Man, you be killing me with those super chats. I gotta type in, put that one back up there. I gotta type in that word rhetorician. I think the deacon got that one wrong. Hold on. Rhetorician. Okay. Got it.
Ooh, suck on my chocolate salty balls. Put them in your mouth. Put them in your mouth and suck them and suck them.
Google said that's pronounced rhetorician. Rhetorician. Never heard that word. Never saw that word typed out like that. Thank you for the super chat, Salty Balls. Thank you for the super chat, Salty Balls. Always coming through, putting something hard and heavy-handed on it. Do appreciate that. I got to get to one more thing, and this one is the more interesting one. I know I like to save the best for last and slow build up to it. I like to save the best for last and slowly build up to it. We at the 57-minute mark. Of this bad boy. Where is it? Where is it? Give me 1 second, y'all. Hold up. Hold on. Trying to pull this up. I can't use the clips as they were entered into as I drop them, plug them into the StreamYard. For some reason, StreamYard is acting up. I may need to increase my internet bandwidth or something. I may have to increase something because I don't like when stuff is choppy. That annoys the hell out of me. So I'm trying to figure something out. Now he about to address the Tupac calling him a coward part. No love for the coward. No love for my father because the coward wasn't there. We about to get into that part.
What was your reaction when you heard the lyrics to Dear Mama, particularly where Tupac says, no love for my daddy because the coward wasn't there. He passed away and I didn't cry because my anger wouldn't let me feel for a stranger.
Yeah, and I knew. At first I was upset because I'm trying to see you and, but then it hit me. Well, one, I ain't dead. And so you really didn't know me, because if you would have known me, you would have known that I wasn't dead. You see what I'm saying? So I knew there that someone had lied to him from that point. And so later on, when I found out that someone did lie to him, that's all made perfectly good sense. I understood it.
Indigo Flow says, I think Pac was talking about legs in that rhyme. I don't know who legs is, but if you're talking about the person who he thought was his dad, but who also died, I mean, who actually died, then yes, he's calling somebody else a coward who wasn't there. But that still doesn't negate the fact that there was an actual living, breathing man who exists, who used to see him up until the point that he was 3, that, you know, the mom moved away from, and everything just fell out of contact, you know, and she never told him about him. You know, she basically just let him forget him, which is unfortunate that a kid, you know, could be around a parent from 3. You know, there's horrible situations where let's just say if a parent, you know, see, I didn't even want to get that deep into it. A kid can forget a parent at 3 years old, and that's just wild. That's just wild. Like if a parent dies or something like that, if you know, they're not going to have a memory of the parent. That's like sad. That's real sad and fucked up, because it's like he literally forgot about him. There was somebody in his life who he forgot about. The interesting thing is that the mom never made any mention. Oh, this man who died, that's not your actual biological father. You do have an actual biological father out there. You know, that's the part of it. But in that lyric, it's very possible that he wasn't talking about him when you look at the full scope of the story.
And so later on, when I found out that someone did lie to him, that's I knew there that someone had lied to him from that point. And so later on, when I found out that someone did lie to him, that's all made perfectly good sense. I understood it totally. So
because I came into it thinking that he was told that this man died, which he very well could have been. He could have been told that this man died, or he could be talking about the actual person that actually died, that was you know, he thought was his father.
I hear it now, I laugh. I still love the fucking record, though, P. I love it. I love it. I do. I think it's beautiful. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I love all his music, though. I listen to his music daily, every freaking day, and I like it. And then it hits me. He's my son. You see what I'm saying? So it's a twin thing there. I don't say that, and that's what the difference between everybody else. Everybody sees him as this. When I was always around him, he's my son. He ain't Tupac. I mean, he's Tupac, but he ain't that icon. Then I look at the videos and where he goes. I see him with the autographs, and I said, that's a different world. He could never be an individual that could relax in society, like he said he wanted to. He said, Pops, I want to go home and watch TV, but I know I can't. He would tell me these things. Last movie he saw was what's that movie? Mental block. Tom Hanks.
Forrest Gump.
He saw that with his wife. We talked about it in prison.
So when he watched Forrest Gump, he was
wife. And no, Tupac was married, but
no, he saw it before he went to prison.
He saw, okay.
Yeah. He said, I liked it, Pops, but she didn't like it. I said, I liked it too. We started talking about it. And every time now I see that movie, I think about that boy. It's really amazing. That was the last movie he ever saw.
Wow.
Yeah. Forrest Gump. Ain't that nothing?
Yeah, that's
weird, right? It's just weird
is,
shit. It's just weird shit.
It is.
Shout out to Christian Nudges and people coming in late. Like, wait, his dad's not dead. Everybody's going off that lyric. Everybody going off that lyric. But no, this man has been alive and well. We've looked at all the evidence, and either he was told that this man died, or just the existence of this man was basically just denied. One or the other. It was a lie either way. He was either lied and told that he died, or he was basically lied and made to believe that another man that was around was his biological dad, and then that man died. But either way it go, Tupac's actual biological father is alive and breathing and doing an interview since the Dear Mama documentary is coming out. I think it might be already out. It might be already out.
Yeah.
He said, I just like to sit on the couch, eat sunflower seeds, and cool out for a little while, smoke some weed. But he gets caught up.
And backstory, those that just made it in, it wasn't until Tupac got shot the first time. That's when they finally re-met at the hospital. Tupac laying in the hospital bed, open his eyes and see a older man that looked like him standing over him. Had to think he was dead.
I'm Tupac. Let's hit the bars. Let's do this. Let's do that. Who wouldn't want to do that?
Right.
Everywhere you go, people look at your crowd. People drawn to you.
Right.
Signing autographs, buying you this, buying you that. It's a whirlwind, brother. And you can get caught up in it. And he did.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And he said he was caught up. He said as much.
He was.
Yeah, he said he was caught up.
He said he was going to stop it, but he got with the wrong people on the wrong coast to stop it. There's a different world out there, bro. I lived out there as a kid. I lived in North Hollywood. My mother died when I was 6.
Barney Thug said, but Pac clearly had a relationship with his father if he's telling this story. No, they reconnected after Pac was shot, and they developed a relationship going forward. So that is a bit different. There is a so yeah. So they had a relationship after the fact, but it was a long period where he didn't know that this man existed. Let's see.
Illegal abortion. She got scraped by the midwife.
Oh, shit. Hold on.
I lived in North Hollywood. There's a
caught up. He said as much.
He was.
Yeah, he said he was caught up.
He said he was going to stop it, but he got with the wrong people on the wrong coast to stop it. There's a different world out there, bro. I lived out there as a kid. I lived in North Hollywood. My mother died when I was 6. Illegal abortion. She got scraped by the midwife. Everything seemed fine. Found out my mother started bleeding. She found out that it was a twin. So when she scraped the first one out, the second one got punctured. So she's got a punctured child in her stomach bleeding to death.
Mm.
And instead of her going to the hospital, she didn't want to dime out the midwife. Until this day, I was 6 years old. I wish I knew 911 was available because I had no idea my mother was going to die from an illegal abortion. But
keep in mind, if Tupac was born 71, I'm going to say this man was born, let's just say 51. And if he was 6, that means it would have been 1957, before abortion was legal and safer. Women was actually having midwives come to their house and do some under the table touch and go abortion with a goddamn scalpel and a hanger. It's like, god damn. Like, you really don't want that baby. If you about to risk that much, like, that is wild. And to do that while already having a kid. Like, that is wild. Yeah, Logan J. They doing wire hanger abortions. They was doing wire hanger abortions. It's like, god damn.
But
that was way off topic. He just went off on a tangent. But damn, he sat there and watched his mom die at 6. He watched his mom die trying to. Oh Lord, that's horrible. He watched his mom die from trying to kill your younger sibling that wasn't born yet. Siblings that wasn't born yet.
I don't know.
I appreciate you sharing that. I know that probably brings back a lot of memories, man.
Yeah, I don't know how we got on that though.
I mean, that's just life.
Yeah,
it's life. It's life.
Yeah, they got way off topic on that one. They got way off topic on that one. But that's more or less the gist of it. Tupac's father is alive with the alive and doing interviews with the whole Dear Mama docuseries airing. The Dear Mama docuseries airing. He didn't like the way that he was depicted in that. He didn't like it altogether. Alan Hughes, the director, somebody who don't like Tupac, is the one who's directing it and putting it out there, and he's basically making the case in the documentary that Tupac was just one big studio gangster, and the whole documentary is about the mama, or Dear Mama, as Tupac's biological father, Tupac's dad, calls her. He only refers to her as Dear Mama. You don't refer to her as nothing else. And so, wrapping up everything, ultimately everything that happened, more or less is really a situation where even when he was trying to reach out to Tupac after he saw him when he famous, publicists, everybody was giving him the runaround, and he more or less found out that, more or less found out that there was lies going on behind the scenes at a lot of levels, that that was doing some work to keep him from Tupac, but at the same time, if you're determined and strong-willed that you're going to do something, goddamn it, you just do it. You find a way. If there's a will, there's a way. If there's a will, there's a way. You get it done. But either way it go, that was Tupac's dad in his own words, basically explaining what went down from his perspective. We are joined by Sir Tice in the building. Before today, did you know that Tupac's biological father was actually alive?
Not only did I not know this, I used to be somewhat in the industry and knew a lot of insides. I actually met Tupac too. I don't want to, it wasn't nothing big. And this was back in his digital underground days, but no, and I just joined about 15, 20 minutes ago. You took my super chat down. I'll segue into that.
Oh shit, my bad. Hold on. I didn't even meant to take it down. I meant to read it.
While you pulling it up,
right,
this is why the Black Manosphere is important, fellas. And shout out to Jackie Jackson, Miss RM, the other few ladies that come here. I don't include y'all in this. Tina Turner recently passed away. I still say rest in peace. But a lot of narratives was told about that man, that ex of hers, that Judge Joe Brown has gone on the line that said all that shit was lies, okay? Mm-hmm. And he went hard in the paint. I would highly recommend y'all look up what he said, okay? And that's,
I did some content on that with it. Yeah, he went in. He went in. He said she was a violent one.
And I've heard that story from people in St. Louis telling me that their old relatives said that her reputation is tarnished. But I'll let you read the chat, and then it'll go into this thing about the narratives of Black men, and then I'll chime in something about Pac.
Yeah, it says this reminds me of Shaq when he was Shaq Fu, and he says something similar about his biological father didn't bother. Turns out he did. They did later reconcile. But narratives dominate black men, black male pops, sadly. Yeah.
You remember that song he came out with?
I remember Shaq was rapping. By the
way, for the record, all of his stuff was ghost written, by the way, for the old school hip hop heads that didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah, Fushinickens did his first track, and Biggie did Can't Stop the Rain. I know he was on it, but when you listen to the flow, it's all Biggie what Pac says. It's like, wait a minute. I mean what
what Shaq says, yeah.
Shaq said, but you can listen to those things. That's how I always say you can figure out who Ghost wrote a lot of things. No, I'm being dead serious. I have mixed opinions about Pac because I think a lot of Pac's decisions led to his demise. Okay. And I think that as great as an artist he was, I don't want to turn this into the old top 5 or hip hop battle, but Pac went to a performing artist school. That's what he was good at. Okay. Now all this gangster stuff, or he from the West Coast. No, he grew up in Baltimore. Okay. We need to
wait. I thought it was in New York somewhere.
No, well, he was born, I believe, in New York. I'm sure somebody in the chat may tell me exactly where he was actually birthed, but I know he spent time there. But his high school, that's where he met Jada in Baltimore and things like that. Thank you, the School of Arts with Omega Dreads. Had said salute to you, bro. So my thing is this propaganda against black men. So it's okay to put out. Did you say it was the Hughes brothers who put this out?
Yeah, Allen Hughes. Yeah.
Hold a second. You mean the Hughes brothers who did the Menace to Society?
Mm-hmm.
The same guys that Tupac jumped. By the way, Tupac didn't beat their ass; they jumped them, and they're doing a kiss-ass documentary on Tupac.
Well, hold on. I got clips for that. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold up.
Mr. Garland, Afeni had lied to Tupac in regards to who his real man by the name of Billy Garland. Mr. Garland gave me an abundance of information called Paris Lysane
that
Crooks,
ain't the right one.
That
ain't the right one. This might be it right here.
I do in a way because he looks like me, and it's.
Nope, that ain't it. It's right here.
And that's an MTV interview.
So there's a new 5-part docuseries on Tupac about to drop.
My name is Tupac Shakur.
The only problem is, it's directed by one of his enemies.
He's a performing arts kid, and he's delusional.
In 1993, the Hughes brothers hired Tupac to star in their debut movie, Menace to Society.
What you say about my mama?
However, Tupac was fired during the rehearsal stage by Allen Hughes, resulting in an altercation that landed Tupac in jail after Hughes pressed charges. The dispute between the two remained unresolved until Tupac's death in 1996.
Rap star Tupac Shakur.
Tupac left control of his estate to his mother, Afeni. However, she passed in 2016, leaving control of her son's estate in the hands of this man, Tom Wally. But ever since he gained control of Tupac's estate, we've seen a series of questionable decisions. And most recently, Tupac's sister sued Tom Wally for embezzling $5.5 million from the estate. He also refused to hand over her late brother and mother's personal items that were left to her. So it begs the question, would Tupac want Allen Hughes telling his life story?
All right, so yeah, there it is right there.
My apologies to Allen Hughes in that, because
Why?
I remember that distinctly. It's almost like we said the same thing about, he's a performance arts kid, and that's exactly what he did. And of course, the brother Charles Merchant with the knowledge. Shout out to someone else had answered the question about, he was born in Brooklyn. I want to KG. There you go. So salute to you, brother.
But no, I think it's true that somebody, Allen Hughes, doesn't like Tupac. And he's directing and making and producing a documentary on him.
Oh, so he's kind of shitting on it, or he's telling his side of the story and you know what? Guess what? Hey, freedom of speech. He's got a direct incident with him. He can tell his side. So okay, I'll just remove that or what have you.
Yeah, but no, I do think it's kind of shitty that you're making. It's coming off like he's making a hit piece on a dead man that he had beef with.
I don't disagree with. That's exactly what the fuck he's doing.
Okay. Okay.
But I'll say this. Well, then again, I guess time has passed. But it's 25. Damn, I can't believe it. No, it's 26 years. Man,
96. Yeah.
Jeez, I'm old. Anyways, oh man, yeah. I was just what just kind of triggered me was I'm sick of hearing these stories. We've been told one thing. We're told to believe. I'm just saying this. This is why I come so hard against propaganda. We're told to believe something. We believe it, and it's completely untrue. And shout out to that brother. What is his name, by the way? The father.
William Garland, I believe his name.
So where does Lysane Parish come from? is Parrish the mother's last name?
I guess. I mean, Muslims. Muslims make up. I mean, not Muslims, but
It's his
Afeni
real
Shakur.
name. His real name is Lassane Parrish. Because the mother was on the run from the Black Panthers, they tried to switch up things to throw the cops off the scent, and that's where Tupac Shakur comes from. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Given,
Yeah.
But yeah. So
that's his name right there, Lashane.
That's his first name, right? Okay, now Afeni Shakur is obviously not her name. I don't know what her original. I should say it's not her name. Rest in peace.
I just looked it up, bro. It's Alice Faye Williams. So I don't know where they get crook from. Because she's a crook. I guess she was stealing stuff.
Yeah. Listen, man, when you gonna do a one-on-one with dirty folks, man?
It's coming. It's coming.
I was listening to his show yesterday, man, and every time he says something, I just bust out laughing. But I was just in saying, just that I was going on a rant about the mother and him being on the run and how, just a lot of this reputation stuff. Yeah, hell, look at how he got killed. He goes up to Orlando. And I to this day believe that Orlando dude is the one that smoked him. Whatever. That's
pretty much proven. They Biggie's murder is still kind of out there, but Tupac, they know who did it.
Right. And Orlando's also in 6 feet in the dirt too. So I don't know. Omega Dress says they just making up names and shit. I guess they was really trying to throw them off the scent. But this is what I was gonna say about the brother. Yo. Somebody in the chat said that brother's 80 years old. Pause, no homo. That brother looks very good.
He's in his 70s. No, he's I think they said 70. He in his early 70s. They said it in an interview.
Hey, still shout out to him. Yeah. It had to be pain, and I'll pass it off to dirty folks. It had to be painful though. For 25 years, you hearing you don't fucking exist and shit. And this dude's been at your house and all. I mean, damn. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna start where I was gonna start with. Tupac is no different than any other heterosexual or probably gay black man with a Keisha mother. This is what I mean, right? You're in a situation where they want to be single mothers because they don't want to take authority, and then they actually encourage other women to destroy your life, right? Because that's how matriarchy is slavery. So the only way matriarchy works is if your mother turns on you for a woman in the streets, right? So this is where I'm going with it. Except for the girl that married him right before he went to jail so he can get conjugal visits, that he immediately divorced as soon as he got out of jail.
When I was sitting here trying to figure out why did his dad say that? He was like, yeah, because Tupac, him and his wife, and I'm like, Tupac wasn't married, but that explains it.
Yeah,
he married for the conjugal visits. All right,
I ain't mad at him. That was a boss move.
Yeah.
But besides her, every woman that he ever loved turned on him. His mother turned on him. He wanted to be with Jada, and Jada said she wanted Eazy-E instead. He tried to be with the girl that liked him at Quad Studio. Well, the Quad Studio thing happened because of the girl. Because the girl was sent by
I thought that was by the Jamaican or Haitian Jack or whatever.
Yeah, Haitian Jack. That was Haitian Jack girl.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
Wait. Explain this Haitian Jack, because the Tupac said that that was in one of his songs on Machiavelli.
Yeah, Haitian. You go tell me who Haitian Jack is, Sir Tice.
The best way I can say it, think of it of a street financier. He was in the record business, but he was on the streets, whatever.
He was like Supreme. What Supreme was for
exactly for Ja
Rule. Yeah, that.
Listen, as I take you back and lace this rap, a real life tell about a snitch named Haitian Jack. Yeah, like I was trying to remember the lyrics, but okay.
Yeah,
and you know what I did? I saw it was a documentary where they talked about that. Now that I just remember. I know who he is now. I forgot. Yeah. I remember the lyrics and in the documentary that I saw one time when I was half asleep.
I meant Jimmy Henchman, but they may call him Jack with it. But yeah,
was it Jimmy Henchman?
It's Jimmy Henchman.
Don't probably end up getting locked up.
Maya King revisited correctly. Thank you. Salute, chat. That's my bad. But
Promise
same
to pay back Jimmy Henchman in due time. I know your business is listening. The world is mine. Yeah, it could have. Anyway, either way it went, he was dealing with them boys, and Biggie was his guy. Biggie was like, do not rock with them dudes. Everybody was telling him, don't rock with them dudes, right? And long story short, when he got he set it up with the girl trying to catch Pac slipping. Pac didn't sleep with her because he didn't feel the energy. Because it's one of those situations where you sleep with a girl and guys hop out of the closet on you. He thought it was one of them, so he sent his guys in instead. And she was trying to work her way to the top like a good groupie supposed to. First, she sleep with the security guard, then and it just didn't work out. So then they decided to go shoot him. And he still didn't die because I guess he was mad, whatever.
Can I add just one bit of context to that too? He was messing with Jimmy Henchman because quiet as kept, Pac was broke then.
Broke.
Right. So he hooked up with the street cats, and I believe it was Little Sean, who used to be under special ed. Y'all gotta really know y'all hip hop to know this or whatever. And it's like basically, hey, we'll give you $5,000 to come on this track. That's why he had so many songs with a lot of New York cats before he got shot.
And not only that, he was dealing with them boys because they was moving work through the tour buses because he was broke. Pac was broke. So, because I remember Pac already he was on the second album when he got his first apartment. So Pac was broke. And that's why I be like, yo, people say he's smart, but I'm like, yo, that nigga couldn't read because he would have read the contract. Anyway, the reason he ended up having to get with Suge is to keep Jimmy them off his ass. He had to leave the East Coast and join another gang that was big enough to stop their gang. I get why Pac did what he did because, we are all a culmination of the decisions that we make. So when you start wrong and you can't apologize and just be like, you know what, I messed up. You just exacerbate that. So Pac was a victim of his own decision making, regardless what that is. But my point is that every girl turned on him all the way to the end. The only thing that he did that wasn't girl related was allegedly get deleted by Orlando. He shouldn't even been in that, but he should have moved like Snoop. The Snoop wasn't ever around when any of that stuff happened.
Snoop was playing it smart. Snoop was definitely playing it smart.
But that was at the time that Snoop saw that Death Row was going on a downward spiral, and he was kind of trying to separate himself too. After Dogfather had ridiculously flopped. So just given he's like, I got to get away from this shit.
Yeah. Dane C, hold on real quick. Dane C in the building says, I believe Biggie went into witness protection.
He went.
Yeah, it didn't work. They did a shitty job at protecting him, but all right. Will's vlog channel in the building. He says the name Tupac Amara originally came from a Peruvian revolt leader. Pac mom lied to a Black Panther about Pac being his son. Oh wow. Okay, Pac mom lied to a Black Panther about Pac being his son. It was actually Billy's. Okay, so
I don't believe that.
That's kind of hard to believe in the timeline because Pac's biological dad that we just saw in an interview was basically saying that he was with him up until he was about 3. So
I believe
what part would you don't believe?
Pac mama did that 1970 shit. You have a baby. They doing it now. When y'all go on the dating sites, girl be 6 months pregnant, already looking for a new boyfriend. Pac mama had Pac and then had a baby by another dude and was like, you might as well. It's a BOGO, baby. You know what I'm saying? That's what he knew it wasn't his kid. He just claimed it because of the girl.
Yeah. Will's vlog channel says Snoop ran to Master P to get Suge off him. I mean, in so many words, I mean, that's accurate. He did have to run the P. It's crazy that Pac and Snoop.
Real talk though, Death Row lost their distribution after that too. So there was, and by the way, they were still making money off of those 4 albums he did with P. But go ahead, my bad. Yeah, I was just giving some context.
Oh no. Yeah, I was just sitting there just thinking, okay. Did Pac did he die broke though? Like, I mean, at some point, I know
Well,
look, all artists back then, they start off in the red. It
one reason
is what it is.
folks, I don't know if you remember this or not, but I think part of that handwritten contract and the death row things, I've read it before, but it's been 20 years since I read it. But he owed Death Row like 5 albums. That and plus one thing, no, I may have a lot of disrespectful things I can say about Tupac, but you cannot criticize his work ethic. That was his issue with Dr. Dre, okay? But he could pump out songs like you wouldn't believe or what have you. And I want to say that once Machiavelli came out, I want to say that was his third. He did so many things.
That was his fifth. That was his fifth. First,
okay, because the double album can't count it as
the double album, so that was two.
Right.
Then he did two with Thug. He did one with Thug Life and one with
Yeah, but that wasn't on Death Row. I'm talking about what he owed Death Row. Here.
Even on Death Row, he was doing soundtracks and everything.
Right. Well, let me. I'm almost done. I'll just say this.
I'm saying all those counted toward his count. That's what I'm saying.
No. Got you. He was trying to get out of that contract.
Right.
But because Death Row was, keep in mind, he was still out on bail for solid. He was out on bail. He wasn't free at the time, so he owed Death Row that. And he was like, I did find something. I may want you to post this. He was working on a restaurant concept, and I don't know if he was working with some Hollywood actor. I can't think of the name right now, but he literally wrote out the menu from hand. And I hate to say it, it was fucking down and borderline brilliant. I don't know if anybody in the chat has seen this, but I'm going to try to find it in the meantime. But yeah, he was broke. Okay, I'll just say it like that.
This was a Death Row contract, if I remember correctly. And I got this from Corrupt and Snoop. They were getting an allowance, like $30,000 a week or a month or something like that. They were getting an allowance. So Pac was always in a pocket. You know what I mean? Everybody was. Snoop said he didn't say any real money till he got to Master P. And Snoop, come on, man, Doggy Style? Snoop like, I ain't seen no money.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah.
Shout out to Suge, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, that's why, a lot of these new artists, they listen to them talk, they sound stupid, but they smart enough not to sign them damn contracts. They be independent and just doing their own thing. So yeah,
they got their own distribution now.
Yeah.
Jacques Retro always with the facts. Damn, thank you. I love that song you did with Buckshot too. That's in the chat. My bad. I can see you.
Man,
Will's vlog channel in the building says Lumumba Shakur was Afeni first husband. They fell out because Pac was Billy's son instead of his. Yeah,
I just want to say something about what Will Vlog just said. I believe his comment 100%, and because of that, this is why black men need to rebrand from Keisha, because Lumumba is an African tribal warlord. I don't know where they actually call from, but I know who Lumumba was. Patrice Lumumba is who Patrice O'Neal is named after. Niggas just freestyling shit. They changing their name and social designation at will. The 1970s was a wild time, yo. That was a wild time.
Yeah, no doubt. Dane C says, I believe the shooting of his car was FBI.
Oh, Biggie?
Yeah, I'm assuming that. Yeah.
They said it was
If you talk about the Biggie or the Pac?
No, the Biggie. They said it was a police officer that also happened to be a blood.
There's a great YouTube channel, or Big Gene Deal, who was Puffy's personal bodyguard. I mean, you want to talk about watching marathons, you'll go crazy listening to his channel, but he's got the details. He knows and he's connected and stuff. Yeah.
I'm surprised he's still alive, bro.
I know.
That dude gonna get offed if he's telling too much. They say everybody around Diddy come up dead, but
he's mad at Diddy, so he's snitching. Like
he's been going at Diddy, yeah, man. I think. Oh, and guess what? He's a probation officer by trade, so I don't want to say that he's somewhat protected as such, or whatever. But it would look very suspicious if most of those dudes, Little Kim's man, what was his name, Wolf Joe. Most of those dudes who get killed that's around them, they street dudes. Who cares about them, right? I'm being facetious or whatever, but But you
Who
kill a
was the
federal
muscle? I remember Gene. Gene was the muscle. Like who do
Right.
you go to get for the muscle? Think about it. Whatever hitter Puffy gonna get, no Gene. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But yeah, Gene tells all the dirt about all the times he called Puffy with a man, all type of stuff, bro. Gene be snitching.
Oh wait, you telling me it's a dude? This dude be on YouTube talking about he caught Puffy
Yeah.
with a-
Yes, Big Gene Deal. His name is yeah, actually that's his name, Gene Deal. He's a retired probation officer, but and guess who he's connected with? ASAP Ferg's father. That's who was his boy. So he's still got connections in the industry and such. He talked about how Little C's lied. He said, but I know Little C's got a lie to keep his name out there. You know, he said Little C's could barely drive. That's how Biggie got his leg broken off. You know,
Yeah.
he brings it on. And when he said about, oh man, like I said, you could binge listen for days on this.
Damn. Hey, that's
Yeah,
wild. That's wild. He snitching for real if he's saying that. Like, I mean, people been always saying that about Diddy, but I haven't heard nobody close to it claiming to have witnessed anything, you know. So that's why I was like
Jaguar Wright.
I don't really like Jaguar Wright though.
I'm just making a point that Puffy, what's the name of the network that he runs? You know, Puffy's connected, so he.
But here's, you know what? You just reminded me. I love you, Puffy. He runs damn, what's the name of that network? Damn, he got
I
his
know
own.
what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Hey, Chad, what's the name of Puffy?
Revolt.
Revolt. Yeah, Revolt. I love you, Puffy. I love Revolt. All right, so this is I'm about to kiss ass because my money ain't right. So Revolt gave Chicago channels, right? So Ron Fest has a channel on Revolt, and me and Fest go back, and he owed me a favor anyway, so I'm trying to get on Revolt. So I love you, Puffy. I'm sorry, Gene be lying on you, bro.
Got to cover them tracks, right?
I thought he was about to make some big point. He just was clearing his name. I was leaning in for some big point that's about to get made.
I almost got this menu up. Just give me a second.
All right. Machismo TV was good. Drop Machismo link in the chat room. Drop Machismo's link in the chat. You should have a wrench. You should be wrenched up. I gotta get at you about something. I'm trying to double check right now to see if you're wrenched up. I can't tell who got wrenches and who. Why is that like that? All right, Sir Tice, you said you need to pull something up.
I will. Just give me 2 seconds.
Okay, cool. Because I'm trying to.
How did this come across your radar? Out of curiosity, is it popular now, or did it come in your algorithm? Or I'm curious because I've never seen this.
I can't remember. No, I think somebody sent it to me. I'm trying to think if I saw it before somebody sent it though. I don't know. I'm honestly not sure.
You know, I was chopping up. What was I chopping up with? Omega? Somebody in the chat. I think it was Omega. And the thing that caught me the most about this, to get back to the topic, is Tupac's grandma technically died on the abortion table.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, yo, this is why they love thugs, man. Killers love killers. So you just got to respect the fact that your girl is a killer. If she only got one child and she pretty, if your girl pretty with one kid, yo, she been to the chop shop. So, you know, you just got to tell her you a thug, man. Wear a red or blue bandana or something, man, to keep your household right.
What I was saying, maybe it went over some heads in the chat, or Nick Taylor in the chat. The old school movie In the Heat of the Night, Sidney Poitier, and I think what was Archie Bunker's real name? I can't remember. Carol O'Connor, I think that's
I was it.
And that was the plot of the movie. It was an illegal abortion that was done, and that was in 1967. And it was how ironic. It was a white woman that got an abortion or whatever to hide a pregnancy. Well, duh. And it was a black woman that was doing it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, man,
This fits right into what
but
you just said.
that's the even though black women are the face of abortions because they don't know when to quit. White women were always the face at first. I remember watching Boardwalk Empire. That's how he lost his wife. I remember on Scarface. I mean not Scarface. On Godfather. That's how Michael ended up divorcing his wife because she got an abortion. Like abortions have always been huge. These women do not like men. I mean, they like the resources. They don't like men. So they, they'll kill your kid. It's nothing. That's what they do, yo.
Yeah. Damn, what else was it on this one? Have the one thing I don't know that I should have knew coming in is whether or not the documentary was already out already. I think somebody in the chat room told me that the documentary is already out, but needless to say, none of y'all have seen it. None of y'all have seen it because I don't even figure out if if it's out, I may watch it. I can't see myself doing
I feel like
follow-up content on it.
I'm dating myself here. I remember when in the 80s coming up, it was always all these Elvis movies, and I'm like, damn, if I ever have to see another or even when it was just on TV all the time, and I'm like, damn, I'm sick of this white son of a bitch, whatever. Man, I felt the same way with Tupac and Biggie. There's not too much. You can tell me at least with all the documentaries we've seen from 1996 up to 2005, and you telling me that we're still doing stuff now? Damn, now I will say this, the thing, although the father was an interview, that was a revelation that I did not expect, but it's been a lot, that's what I'm saying.
I kind of like it, even though I'm tired of Tupac. I like the fact that the coloreds are celebrating their heroes, their minstrels, and not letting them die. I don't like the I'm saying I don't like the renditions because me living through that era and then me becoming an adult and I'm like, yo, Pac was cut cold as shit. Like, and I know they'll tell the story like he a hero because he got killed in a gang fight. He wasn't even in that gang. But I respect the fact that they're not letting their heroes die. I just wish they would tell a real story, right?
What story are they not telling? I mean,
Tupac is seen as this damn rebel. He got knowledge and he was conscious and all this. Man, Tupac was the typical weed smoking, wanna be a thug dude that just had hella artistic talent on both the acting side and obviously the rapping side. But what movie it's funny, I watch these TV shows and I'll see it, it's a big picture of Tupac or whatever. Man, that dude was deep or whatever. He was very profound and all this. And I know Tupac fans are probably putting a hit on me right now because Tupac is one of those guys, you talk about their idol,
Right.
You got the you in the crosshairs right now. So, this by the way, I'm sorry, these are not the opinions of Bernard Riley's show. These are just Sir Tyson's opinions, but they don't tell the complete story, he was really I'm not going to say he wasn't going to change his life, but he was already too much in. I remember when he got the tattoo of the gang that was, that he was air quotes allegedly in, and they said that was really the end of it,
Yeah, they don't. They celebrate their heroes to the point of making them mystical, which you should, but okay, perfect example. I looked up Malcolm X one day, right? You know what they call Malcolm X? You know what now black people call Malcolm X the modern day Messiah and blah blah blah. I can't remember what document I was looking at, but they were like, yo, Malcolm X. So it was like Martin Luther King, civil rights leader, Malcolm X, social activist. I was like, yo, they really no social media influencer. They call Malcolm X an influencer. I say, yo, this nigga, and it made sense. I was like, yo, Malcolm X would have been on Instagram. Malcolm X would be Tariq Nasheed, right? You talk about what
real talk. I agree with you on that.
The only thing I would say is the difference. I see what you're getting at. I know you're also saying you're looking at the modern confines of things. So Malcolm was doing what he's doing. I'm sorry. I find that insulting. Okay, and it's not that I find that insulting, man.
Let's try to explain it like this. Okay, now they did. Okay, he had enough pull and reach to where he was able to make it on TV. So in that sense, he may not have been somebody on YouTube. But the fact of the matter is, in this modern time, other than Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, those who were big enough to where they were on TV regularly, the average person with something to say for their people, yeah, they can get on social media today. Like somebody like Jason Black, who's the Black authority on things. He got more reach than damn near any talking head from the 60s just on his own platform on YouTube from a number standpoint. A lot of people don't look at it like that. So it ain't far-fetched to say that that if Malcolm X was alive today, that he would be on YouTube talking shit. It's not far-fetched.
If you're looking from the media aspect of it, I guess you can say that, but keep this in mind. I mean, he was literally when I say on the streets, I ain't talking about his life before jail. I mean, before he was doing that for 8 years before he got on TV and things like that. I mean, he was literally straight up a grassroots dude, okay? Yeah. And very
right. He was a grassroots organizer. He was an activist.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Let me real quick. And maybe this doesn't seem like much, but when I saw this, I'm like, okay, man, dude has some talent. I'll enlarge it real quick. So before Tupac died, he was working on this with some actor. One of you guys in the chat may know this. It's a big white actor too. But this was his menu, and he wrote this. I'm trying to enlarge this, and it's now suddenly when I'm on the clock, it's not letting me enlarge it. There it is. Okay. There it is. All right. So this is the menu that he wrote out. And I'm like, damn, I don't know what these graphics are called, but it's actually not that, you know how sometimes you're just writing up a concept. And I'm like, okay, he's doing this or whatever. He's like, come and dine on authentic Italian food prepared by a renowned chef, the finest in down home Southern Creole food from whatever, right? And then this doesn't seem like much, but he's thinking about, okay, one side is for men, one side is for women. And then he talks, he's got enough foresight. He's thinking about the menus, the desserts, your side items. I'm assuming these are sides. Oh, no, I'm sorry. These are the drinks. Thug Passion, Ghetto Russian, Player Passion. I mean, this sounds kind of corny now, but back then, for him to be thinking this forward thinking, I got to give him some credit on here. And then
what is this? Like, what is he being a damn event?
This is the menu of a restaurant that he was trying to come up with, and it was actually damn near financed and being conceptualized. In other words, he was trying to figure out another revenue stream, and he had an actor who actually had the seed money for it. And this is him. I don't know if it happened all at once where he's writing this all up. I'll give people the link in the chat if they want to take a look at this, But for a 24-year-old brother to be thinking like this and to be able to draw this up, let me just zoom it out or whatever. I think, and again, a lot of people, oh man, you cook some good wings, man. You could go and you could get a food truck or whatever. To actually, I just lost my screen. Anyways, to actually just come up with it and conceptualize it, even if it's just writing a menu, that's doing more than what 90% of people are doing, who got ideas. So I give that a lot of credit, and I just want to put that up there. Go ahead.
This is why I won't give you credit.
Okay.
And I'm not mad at him for doing it, but I mean the amount of credit that you
gave. Hold up. Yeah, I'll be right back. Go ahead, y'all got it.
Here's
hold on, let me say this before you go. Omega Dress says Kemet Wang.
Kemet Wang. I ain't gonna lie. That's anyway.
You need to keep that to yourself because okay. All right, go ahead, Dirty.
All right, here's my thing. I remember the era, and apparently you do too. Everybody was getting it. The type of people that he was trying to associate with at that time, everybody was getting it. So back in the 90s, for those old enough to remember the 90s, I don't remember the 80s, but I remember the 90s. Though in the 90s, everybody would meet up at the car wash. like with all type of different situations, and it was like this great meeting place. So for the problem is Pac was broke. The problem wasn't the idea. I'm not saying that it's a bad idea. I'm just saying
Okay. So we're on the same page.
I just don't get my issue is a lot of people had ideas at that time if they wanted to be someone when they grew up. The problem that Pac had is that Pac still needed somebody to finance it after 7 albums and 4 major movies.
Well, okay, forget the number of albums. I'll say this. So he came in 91. By then it's 96. When you in the industry, and this is why I was always critical of Snoop up until the point until when Beautiful came out damn near. It's like you've been in the industry for 5 years, where most people will last 2 years, 3 years is good. You last for 5 years and you got no money. Now, mind you, the dude was getting in trouble every single damn week. So, whatever money he had, he's going on legal expenses. But I agree with you on that it's like, damn, you still got to get seed money and things. But I like the fact that, and you are right about the time. I remember when Eric Sermon went to Atlanta. Truth be told, he's one of the first New York guys to go down to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Oh, you do remember that. Yeah. So I like when guys try to venture out of their main thing and try to spread their wings, because the way the music industry, especially back then, was designed, oh my God.
But it wasn't about the music back then. That's why I'm not really giving it the credence, because Tupac was not a great rapper. I love, I enjoy Pac's music, but Tupac was not a lyricist. I mean, if you ran Thug Nigga and Drug Dealer one more time.
Let's meet in the middle here. I don't think that he's the great lyricist that people put out to him. I think he's a great enunciator, where he knows
he's a phenomenal performer. I
That's
think he's a
what
great artist.
His lines, to whereas he can make something simple sound very good, So
the energy, right? The energy.
Right.
He was a great. He was a phenomenal performer, but he was a good artist. He just wasn't a good rapper. You know what I'm saying? You'll never mistake him with Rakim. You know what I mean?
Well, that gets more into the lyrics versus delivery, and like I said, the way you enunciate
delivery.
Okay, right.
See enemies. All right, look, I like Pac, but look, I'm just saying, Pac was a person that got away with energy. He was a high energy person. He was the rapping version of what's that white dude that always do the motivational speeches? Looked like he should have played football. Anyway, Pac had great energy. He had great presence. He controlled the room. He had a great smile. Pac was a good. He was good for what he was good for. You know what you were getting with Pac. The irony is, Pac was. I'm not saying Pac was bipolar. I believe that all of us have 6 sides of our personality, and we all expand depending on what we are. But Pac was different things for different people, right? If I'm rolling with the guys, then Pac was Spice One, MC8, MC Breed, right? But if you ask women, it's Dear Mama, Brenda Got a Baby. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, hold on a second. Stop right there. Nobody. Oh man, we could turn this into a hip hop discussion. This is the thing why I'm saying about sometimes when you die, your reputation gets inflated. Man, Brenda Got a Baby was a video record. It wasn't played on the radio. It wasn't a radio hit. I know it's not what you said. I'm saying,
Jukebox.
I'm saying
Jukebox, nigga.
Huh?
Jukebox.
Exactly. Thank you.
That shit was on Jukebox all damn day.
It was a video. Okay, Birdie. In the industry, you got certain songs that were, especially back then, that was on video jukebox and things, but they don't instantly go to radio, and become successful. And it wasn't like people driving around, man, Brenda got that horrible Jodeci sounding nonsense or whatever,
Nah, I can't go with you, man. Brenda, that was a nice song. Come on, man.
No. There's a lot of nice songs. The song was never even a top 20 hit. It was just on the,
I understand that, but all I said is
it was the people's champ.
This is just my little soapbox on you're talking about like women and men, what women like, and you're gonna say what the fellas like. Go ahead, my bad.
No, all I'm saying is Pac was different things for different people. That's all I'm saying, bro. And because of that, he resonated with that simple ass ABC flow, because depending on what you like, that's what you play, right?
Why you saying simple ass ABC flow?
I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, we got
Hennessy and enemies, man. I got so tired of hearing that shit. I knew it was coming.
He
Drug
did.
nigga, drug dealer. I mean, you can drop
enemies.
14 songs a day if all your rhymes the same rhyme. Anyway,
Okay, all right. So I'm glad you said that. Okay, I was a huge Tupac fan. All right, I was, and I came to realize this. I like made an assumption, and then my assumption turned out to be true, that he was in there recording 2, 3, 4 songs a day. Like, after Machiavelli came out, y'all know how it was like the Machiavelli 2, 3, 4, all the way up to like 8 or 9, damn near. It was like it was a lot of he had a lot of albums that you guys kind of had to buy him on the underground. They was out there, and they put out after he died, they put out a lot of shit, and you could tell that he made like 300 songs, it seems, over the same 6 month to 3 month period. Because I'm like, damn, every one of these he rapping about the same exact thing,
same structure,
and same structure, and it was getting repetitive, and it was just like, damn. It's like, but then I heard him talking one time, and he was just like, man, we got to get these songs out. We got to boom, boom, boom. I'm just going, you spit your verse, I'm spitting my verse, and he spit his verse. Whatever you say on the last word of your verse, then that's just the chorus. And then we just gonna go bang it out, and then we just gonna go do the next one and let all the studio people do all the playing around with it and make it look. It's like, so there was an aspect of it where he was like real creative. Then there was another aspect of it where he was just rushing shit, and then you could hear with some of the lyrics, it just seems like I'm not gonna say it was like on Master P level, where Master P was just freestyling. Master P wasn't trying with the rapping. He just was throwing out. So he just was rhyming Soldier with Doja and Thought I Told You and a bunch of times. But it was an element of Tupac where where it did seem like he had got on that shit where it just, but I found out, my suspicion was right, that he was basically just rushing through songs, just trying to put out as much music as possible, probably trying to get out of that Death Row.
That's what I'm saying. You walked away, but he was trying to get out of those, those deals. And it was about the number of albums. I'm of the opinion that All Eyes on Me should have been, you take the best cuts. You have many people say it's a great album. I think there's some filler in it, but it should have been a single album. Personally. Now, this is my take here. We can go. I personally think the one with that Easy Mo B did most of the songs. I can't think of where Dear Mama was on that album. Me Against the World. I think that was his most concise project where things were cohesive, where it's like, okay, this dude was actually complete. He wasn't rushing and things, but it was something.
Machiavelli wasn't rushed. Machiavelli was,
I forget, but
Machiavelli was solid. And I really, no, what really tainted me, and this isn't fair, but what kind of tainted me is like after Machiavelli came out, it was a lot of stuff. Like even at that Are You Still Down album that came out, they put that. They put that one together based off a lot of tracks that from songs he did in '92 that didn't make the cut on his other albums, and then and then on the and then sort of in some way somehow all those songs he was recorded like 200 songs in 6 months. All of those start coming out, and I was eager to listen to those and find those wherever I could, and it was just like it just sort of tainted it because it was just repetitive. And so
I can't pronounce this word correctly. I think it's posthumously or posthumously.
Yeah.
Say it one more time, Dirty.
Posthumously, after you did. Yeah, everybody called after they did, bro.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I consider Pac. I look at him in his first 4. Well, you can count Machiavelli because it came out the same day. He got or not the same day or that week that he got killed. So that's 5 albums. Okay, so then everything else, although I ain't gonna lie to you, that song where he dissing Mobb Deep or whatever, when we ride on our enemies or whatever, I did like that cut.
I said that was my joint, bro. That was a lot.
I did. Oh, damn it. The Fugees trying to do me. That gets into your into your point, Dirty.
Yeah, I told you, man, he's elementary, but I liked him. But I mean, he junk food rap. But I liked Pac.
Some of his lyrics was yeah. See, I don't even like going there. I was a big fan, but yeah, some of his lyrics it's kind of basic.
I like. I'm not saying it's like. I mean, it sounds like hate, but I'm not hating. It just is what it is. Like, but Pac was a young man, and I want to go back to what True Hype is saying, man. Read True Hype's.
Oh yeah, True Hype in the building. $10 super chat. He says it wasn't that uncommon for men under 27. Excuse me. It wasn't that uncommon for men under 27 to do big things. We just don't live lives of purpose anymore. Mark Anthony, Steve Jobs started early, and we aren't as mature anymore as a society. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that.
I just want to. I agree with you. What he said, I agree with. I say all the time. I say, man, people conquered nations by the age of 16, and now you telling me I can't drive until I'm 16? Like, there's a lot of. I grew up in that era. Where you can call me shorty. I'm like, I'm gonna prove my name. 17, 18 years old, making 1,000 a day and looking up to people making 50,000 a day, trying to ask them, how can I get there? Now realizing that 97% of people never see that type of money in a week. Like, it was a different time. It was a different time, man. And people were doing big things. I knew a dude that was 20 owned a car wash and a McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? It was just a different time. That's why I was like, yo, Pac being 24 with the access he had globally, not just nationally. Pac was both coast and global. And you ain't figured out how to get a fast food restaurant, my nigga. Like, I don't.
He was doing big things, but I wouldn't. That trying to put the restaurant thing together. That's coming up with another stream of income, but that's on the scale of things that Pac was doing. That ain't that big of a thing. I do think that y'all tripping on saying it was filler on All Eyes on Me.
I said that.
No, I'm looking at people in the chat saying that. Mike from Mike and Vince Perkins, man, but Mike said that in the chat room as well. And I'm sitting here looking at the track list right now, man. All of these was cold.
That's because you're a fan, man. That's because you're a fan. I personally wish he worked more with Quick on that track, or on that track on because I think only Quick did two cuts on that personally. But I don't want to get you. If I get down too much to this hip hop rabbit hole, we'll be here literally all day.
No, for a double album, I think that Biggie had more feeling on his.
Thank you. On the second side of Life After Death. On the second side of Life After Death, it was nothing pretty much there. Like, once you got Notorious Thugs out, once you got Notorious Thugs out the way, and I shouldn't say out the way, that's one of the coldest rap songs ever. But once you got that one out the way, it was like it wasn't that much left, like the second half of that thing.
You ain't saying nothing but a word, but he only came out with the double, because Pac did. I think I forget who else who had said that about.
Big did the double for the same reason Pac did.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Not because Pac did, but for the same reason. He was trying to get out that Bad Boy contract.
Right. Well, saying that in an indirect way.
Yeah.
Let me add,
not because of you, Puffy, because I want to be on Revolt. Not because of you, Puffy. He just. Right.
They already got you on tape, man. I hope that this brother gets more interviews, but even if to me, the way that the Black collective is, I'm not talking about the people in your chat, okay, but the way that general masses are, man, even if this guy's get out there, why he clout chasing? Well, God damn it, that's his fucking son. I guarantee you're gonna hear people say, why he's speaking now? What platform could he go to? Who was gonna take him as a guest for an interview or whatever?
I've heard him 20 years ago, bro.
Okay,
I haven't heard that interview.
Yeah, I'm saying the masses, and now that his story won't get appreciated, and he'll be just another. So what? He was his father. He went in his life. It'll be that kind of shit. Is what. But
his story. Okay. We live in a rotation, right? We live in a loop of 1984 to 2004. You understand that, right? Same Jordan, same outfits, same flow. I think these little kids are kind of touched by Angel because they haven't invented new music. Like, this is the first generation that didn't change their whole musical genre. If you really think about it, we went from scat.
Those are facts. No, those are straight up facts. Although some will argue you and say that drill music is a change, I kind of disagree.
Drill music is not a change. Drill music is niggas on a 2-block radius that people from Chicago been avoiding since the 1990s, who made songs about shooting each other because they were shooting each other. I'm familiar with Parkway Gardens. Y'all can call it O Block. I'm familiar with Parkway Gardens. In the 1990s, Parkway Gardens is on 65th and King Drive. Anything with Martin Luther King is a bad street, so you ain't got to. It's on 65th and MLK. They used to have a roller rink on 66th and MLK called Route 66. We stopped going because those BDs was robbing people in the parking lot. When they got tired of people not showing up in the parking lot or getting their parents to pick them up, they just robbed the whole skating rink, shut down the skating rink because you can't give project niggas nothing. So you looking at boys from 65th and King Drive, shooting at boys on 63rd and King Drive, then making music about it. Drill is not a new genre. Drill is just the same shit, except instead of battle rapping, they rapping about battles. It's not a new genre though. It's not like it's not like blues turned to jazz, or vice versa. Jazz turned to blues, then that turned to rock and roll, then P-funk, and then rap. Then you get to rap, and there's nothing else. Now you're telling me about genres of a subgenre: drill rap, trap rap. You know what I mean? It's still rap.
No. You make a point that I never considered is that it's been 25 plus years since I can think of the last air quotes innovation in hip hop. I don't want to get into detail, but you're right about, I don't want to blame just rap, but I'm thinking of other genres. You know, pop music still sounds the same. You know, I'll say what someone else said on their channel, that it's become stale and redundant.
It is, but because these kids are dumb. Look, when you raised by a single mother, you can't be anything but dumb. I ain't trying to be that guy. Actually, I am that guy, but that's not the point. The point is creativity comes from experiences. You go out here, you try some stuff, people laugh at you, you try something else, people like that, somebody else emulates you. Now you have a genre, right? The same way that nobody would have thought that games like CeeLo and penny pitching and stuff would become mainstream back in the 1970s, 80s, 90s. We never imagined in 1980 when we had our Atari or whatever that you would be able to get paid playing video games on Twitch. That was innovation. That wasn't black kid innovation. That was really white kid innovation. But that was innovation of entertainment. When my nephew came to me at 8 years old and told me he likes watching people play video games, for 5 seconds, I thought he was nuts. Then I said, hold on, grown men watch other grown men bounce a ball. You know what? Do your thing, nephew. You know what I'm saying? There has been no innovation. And this is why. Since the baby boomers, which is the absolute worst generation, but since the baby boomers, maybe since the early 2000s, so this is a Gen X problem too. Since the 2000s, Gen X really hasn't helped other men. Like in the 90s, everybody, that's why I said it wasn't that impressive in the 1990s when men helped men all the time. We can go to any restaurant, any car wash, any club, be like, yo, I'm fucked up out here, bro. I'm broke. And somebody be like, I'll put you on. Come to my job, or take this pack, or wash this car until you get enough money for cap, whatever it is, where men help men. Now men just want to be the only good man and help women that want to destroy their life. And that's crazy to me. And you lost that. So you lost all the things that come from men building with men and men creating things. Now you just got a bunch of kids that don't come outside because whatever the case may be, and they just stuck in a loop. You won't go outside. How you gonna explore? How you gonna figure out what you need by what's missing if you don't know what's missing? You know what I mean?
Right on. It is what it is. And the builder says, "What up, Nardo? Dropping bread because I like seeing you win. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Definitely appreciate that. And also." Shout out to who we got in here. Who the hell we got in here? That was Dame C. And the builder said, remember all albums back then had over 20 tracks. What point is he making a point because he's talking about rather
we were
not?
talking about, I think it comes on when we were talking about doubles and things like that.
Yeah, but that's not true because Nas' album had 9 songs. Illmatic
Right.
had 9 songs.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and just my comments. I'll just say this because you make a great point. I'm in the middle of working right now. I couldn't jump in, but you make a great point. I don't want to say struggle creates progress because we focus too much on that struggle word. But I like when you said about the experiences and experience, and actually going out in life, not what you do online, and that's how you can come up with different concepts because you actually seeing something different and living it, but I don't know. One thing that kind of jades me is I remember when I said this is going to be a problem, and look at what we're dealing with this AI right now. Remember, I think it was like about maybe 10, maybe 11 or 12 years ago when they tried to do that. What do you call it? That clone for Tupac. Dr. Dre did a
the hologram thing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that hologram shit at the festival that starts with a C in California. Coachella, and they bring it on, and people thought it was the greatest thing. And I'm like, you dumb motherfuckers, do you realize what this is gonna do? This is, you don't want to see the artist anymore when you can see these simulations. And now what? Oh man, she gave the greatest show. And I'm like, she lip synced through the whole damn show. Oh, but she got to dance or whatever, so you don't know. And I'm like, wait a minute. They used to do that and sing, no lip syncing before, And when I said she, everybody knows who I'm talking about, but I really don't want the crosshairs to come at me, when I talk about her, so.
What are you talking about?
You know who I'm talking about, man.
Crazy girl.
Yeah.
Beyonce? Oh, she do performances where she ain't singing. I mean, for real, she just playing the track and dancing.
You just say you sound like you're exaggerating or whatever. Yeah, that's exactly what she does.
Oh, okay. I mean, I've seen her do enough live performances where she singing, dancing, and killed it.
Singing over the track,
Nah,
I don't have a problem with that.
I've seen Beyonce do.
So let me ask you a question: do you have a bigger problem with Beyonce or Lizzo or whoever lip syncing than you do with the Gorillas? And I like the Gorillas, by the way.
What are the Gorillas? Are you talking about Lizzo? I don't know what you mean when you say Gorillas.
No. Lizzo is no, she's more.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm saying, do you have a bigger problem with artists lip syncing or a group like the Gorillas?
I have a problem with the Gorillas, I'll admit. I'm just saying that I've seen some of the greatest artists ever, but I'm an old guy. So, I'm speaking from that where I've seen, where lip syncing at that time was frowned upon, and I get it how it is now. I accept it, but I'm just saying, what got me on this track was just thinking about the holograms and how people now accept this fake shit, know.
But which is the Gorillas. That's why I asked, because that's their whole shtick is for gorilla holograms at a concert. Like, I don't even know if they actually show up at their concerts. I'm being honest. Like,
hey, have y'all seen that movie called Sim 1 with Al Pacino and some blonde white chick? I can't think of the chick, blonde white chick.
Go ahead.
That was a movie ahead of its time. The technology is catching up to where they're gonna do that. He basically created a AI pop star and actress that didn't even exist, and she was the biggest star on earth, but she didn't exist. Everybody thought she was real, but basically, yeah, the movie was ahead of its time because that shit is coming now.
What's the name of that?
It's really called Simone because that was her name, but it was Sim 1. But
right.
Yeah, so yeah,
right.
I mean, you get it. Sim 1, that was basically saying she was a simulation.
Simulation
I'm 1.
Right now. I love hell. I remember it was an old school movie.
The same guy who made that movie is the same guy who made the Truman Show. Well, the same guy who wrote that.
Okay, that's
the same guy who wrote the Truman Show. That dude, he's a thinker ahead of his time. And the movie, and he made the movie. A lot of people don't know about this one. Well, maybe you do. Gattaca, where they was basically doing that. But y'all have heard of CRISPR, right? CRISPR, how they can go in and alter the DNA of the embryo and change the features and make somebody taller, smarter, and run faster and all that. Like that's actual science that they can technically do now. It's just unethical but they can use it to get rid of certain diseases, to rid cancer, hereditary diseases and stuff, out of they can get it out of the gene pool, but they also can go in there and basically give somebody the cheat code of life through their genetics too. He made another movie that was basically about that as well. Like, dude make damn good movies, but look up Sim 1. It speaks right to what you're talking about and how we damn near in that time.
Yeah, you're right. Gotcha.
The only great blessing about that is that the people who write kind of suck.
Wait, hold on. If you saying Gothica, that scary movie with Halle Berry, I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about Gattaca.
Gattaca. I know when the movie talking about.
Yeah. I'm just making sure we get it right. We're not talking about that Halle Berry movie. We're talking about something else. But all right, go ahead.
Halle Berry had him on my anyway. Because of the writer's strike, and I was talking to my guys about this like 2 days ago. We were having whole discussions about Chicago artists and how they're weird. You know what I'm saying? And I'm from Chicago, bro. Like the guys who make from Chicago kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? Rhymefest and Kanye, they in Montana with no shoes on, going hiking, like weird shit. But during the course of that, we had to say, yo, but they are creative. And you look at
any more weirder than dudes in the hood wearing hockey jerseys in the 90s? And by the way, I was one of those guys.
I mean, I had two of the hot. No, this is what's weird. I had two of them, a black one and a white one, the home and away.
Sure, the Blackhawks was one.
No.
Oh,
it was the Phoenix Coyotes, and I remember wearing it. Like, why does Phoenix have a hockey team? But it was a clean jersey though. Hey man, look.
I had my Red Wings and Bruins, but go ahead, man. I just wanted to say that.
I mean, it's no. But even with that should be able to inspire you, right? That black people could play hockey, even though black people didn't play hockey, right?
Black people. Hold on a second, real quick. This is a guy on the Panthers right now in the Stanley Cup. He's a brother. I was gonna say hockey, and how could I forget wearing Timbs? Okay,
that's New York, bro. I don't know why y'all New York,
which is a New York staple. No, I'm saying even back in the 90s, you'd see
New York dudes still wear Timbs, and I don't know why everybody looked like they were going to work in the 90s because of Snoop, but nobody really had a construction job, but we all had
You're talking about the Carhartt shit.
Carhartt and the Dickies.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I'm in high school wearing Dickies. I ain't got no job. But it is what it is, man. But no, look, bro, I've been a Boy Scout, bro. I'm not hiking with no shoes on. You know, all the rocks and twigs, that's weird. Fashion comes and goes, right? But walking around with no shoes on in the forest, that's just weird. But my point is, this writer strike is showing you guys that the creativity is gone. The fact that they keep remaking the same movies for the last 50 years, creativity is gone. Right.
Let me ask you this real quick. Do you think though that should create an opportunity? Like, what's the black comic book guy name that people talk about here? I'm not in the comic books.
I don't know who you're talking about, but I know what you're talking about. I've seen the comic books.
But as far as with movies, don't you think that creates an? I'm just asking. Do you think that creates an opportunity for people with creative projects?
No, and I'll tell you why. Creatively, yes. But nobody pays for creativity anymore. They pay for the brand. You know what I mean? So even the movies that Bernard just talked about, those off-brand movies, if somebody didn't put money behind movies like The Truman Show and have to find the right actor, you got to have Tom Hanks. You can't have like a B or C list actor do that and nobody will come and see it. You know what I mean? Then you
my bad. I was on mute. I agree with you. Okay. Are these independent things going to be Blair Witch? No. Is it enough out there where people? I'll use because I know the record business better than the music business. So you probably know plenty of Chicago artists that do this. They come out, nobody knows them. Well, I should say nobody nationally knows them. These guys move between, I was going to say 10 to 20,000 units. Now I don't know how the whole streaming stuff works, but you can survive pretty damn good moving, that small. Or you're a small. Look at who you just mentioned, Tariq Nasheed. He claims Hidden Colors is number one. I've never seen on any scale where it was number one, but he does pretty damn well with those movies. I'd say he probably sells between 5 and 10,000, maybe, of those. But so that's what I'm saying. Do you think that there's an opportunity for that, for the smaller indie filmmaker, to whereas they can maybe eventually reach the 100,000? Obviously, we know the million is out of reach. What's your thoughts on that?
I still say anything's possible, but the reason I'm saying no is this, because they have movies that are cult classics. Like we have a movie called Vulture City, which they filmed at Reading Green about selling drugs in the projects. Cult favorite in Chicago, huge in Chicago, right? I'm not saying that independently you can't, pay your bills and buy a car. I'm saying to move the needle culturally, you have to have a financier. You have to have the distribution, and which you can have now because a lot of things are streaming, and then the marketing budget to make people believe it's bigger than life for you to change the dichotomy. So the creativity is one thing, right? So you have people who create all type of stuff, right? Music, movies, whatever. But then they kind of don't know the business side. And then people on the business side want to return because there's no more crack money just flowing off. Like, I'll give you 30,000. Don't care if I don't get it back. Right. That's normally a different type of angel investor now.
That never happened at all. Right.
All right. Allegedly. Right.
Right. Exactly.
But those guys aren't really out here anymore. Right. So like, for instance, the movie Vulture City was funded by the guy who makes Fashion Geek clothing. Right. So you're looking at, unless people create a pool and finance what they want to see, and this was a discussion I think Bernard had a couple of weeks ago when Lil Big Nate was on. Unless people finance what they want to see and don't care about the money, they do it because they're artsy fartsy people, then you're not gonna get the results you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? You'll be looking at me like me and Spike Lee staring each other down, like, nigga, what? You know what I'm saying? But
so answer. Shout out, hey Mike. I'm not calling you this name. This is what Bernie calls you. Shout out to Man Bun
Mike.
Okay, so Mike says, and I'm going to use shout out to Keep It 100 when he says the most garbageous. I think that was the most garbageous. I can't even pronounce it. He was talking about Tubi, but Man Bun Mike says Tubi movies are pretty horrible, and those guys seem to be doing okay. Any thoughts on that?
They stealing per diem money.
What do you? Oh, you said they.
What does that even mean?
I
don't even know what that means.
You said they're making money because they're stealing per diem.
Yeah, what does that mean?
So per diem is like when you work somewhere. Like,
I mean, no, I understand what per diem is. How's Tubi movies that suck?
The people who put the movies on Tubi stealing per diem money. Tubi just doing the distribution. They're gonna get what they're gonna get. When those movies come out.
But I'm sure Mike is talking about the filmmakers. I mean, Mike, explain.
Right. I'm talking about filmmakers.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I want Dirty to explain.
Dane C says. Hold on a second. Dane C says Tubi's owned by Fox. I didn't know that.
All right, explain what you mean. Well, real quick. Target says, I think first song from Tupac Hologram was Hail Mary. That is accurate to my memory. Target also says there was already a previous writer's strike back in the late 2000s, same time as the recession and rise of YouTube. Thank you for the super chats. Appreciate that. All right, what explain the Tubi per diem thing. What are you talking about?
Okay, so you come out here, right? And we're talking about filmmakers, film producers. Because comedians, it's easier. It's a lot of Instagram comedians that really make real money, right? Country Wayne comes to mind, a couple of others, right? The Chicago dude that be like, on God. It's a couple of them that make money. When it comes to movie makers, though, in order to get the scenes done, get the cast that you don't pay because a lot of people are extras, and do all that, you do that and you make a project that doesn't make money, but you put it down so you can get your IMDb and get your Writers Guild card.
Get your SAG card.
It's a SAG card, right? Same. Well, actually, same people, different things, same people. But you're right. So the next movie you produce, you say, "Yo, this was this, but if you give me 500,000, I could do even better." And they make the same $25 movie with the same $25 cast. They'll get one known actor that has a one line in the movie, but they'll put them on the flyer like this is their movie, even though people only got one line, and then they'll cuff the rest of the money. You know what I'm saying? So they still in the per diem.
You know what? Even though it's a national movie, but this reminds me of State Property too, when Jay-Z was on the cover, and I think he was in like one scene.
Yeah, he was sitting in the car, had that one line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You described it to a T, man. Let's get down and lay down.
Yeah, that's what they do, bro, because they don't have a marketing budget. These are word of mouth movies. They don't have a marketing budget, and they don't have and I'm not saying they're not talented. I'm not saying they didn't sit down and write a script. I ain't saying none of that. I'm just saying they low budget to no budget, and then or you get somebody like, and I promise to God I'm not shitting on this dude. I swear to God I'm not, even though that he don't like me. You take somebody like Mark Harris, and he'll do film festivals for high schoolers. So he'll have the Inglewood Film Festival, and then they'll travel other places, and he'll have these, these damn near documentary style movie. I mean, they movies, I guess, but low budget movies. But he'll get a name for just introducing people to the movie making business, and then somebody will be like, "Yo, I can get you an interview on Yahoo Entertainment," and then white people know who he is, and they give him money, and then he gets a budget and doesn't make the movie. He makes the movie trailer, never makes the movie. They still in per diem. I'm not
I see your expression. I would like to know more. Damn, that's when whenever I see a lot of something, it's kind of like back in the music industry days when you remember back, you would see like a No Limit Records already platinum, and it's like, wait a minute, who the hell is this artist? How the hell is he already platinum? And what they were able to get by that, they would ship out.
They ship platinum.
Right, exactly, at 1 million units, and they could get that destination, but you would see that shit right at the damn CD, the used CD store two or 3 weeks later.
So here's, because this is what pissed me off, right?
Okay.
Because I had the number 2 book in the nation, and I was like, I ain't even seeing no money. How the fuck is these boys? Common showed me how they did it. Because they said Common had the number 1 book in the nation, and books and music used to come out on Tuesdays, and movies came out on Fridays.
Sure did. Common the rapper we're talking about?
Huh? Yeah, Common the rapper.
Okay.
He wrote a kid's book or something. Him and Madonna. Anyway, not together, but both of them wrote a kid's book. And both of them were number 1 books in the nation. But I peeped it when it was Common. What they were doing was in Good Morning America every Tuesday morning, they'll have a book section telling you what the number 1 book in the nation was. And it's 8:00 in the morning Central, right? 8:00 in the morning Central, comments on Good Morning America. They're congratulating him for having the number 1 book in the nation. And I'm like, yo, the book comes out today and the store's not open yet. I've never seen anybody camped outside to get a comment like in front of Barnes and Nobles or Borders. I've never seen anybody camped outside like it's concert tickets. And that's when I realized, that's when they told me, like, yo, bro, you ship the amount that you want people to know you did. So however much you can afford. If you can afford 500,000 units, you ship out 500,000, but you got to buy them all back at the end of 6 months because niggas don't buy your shit like that.
I was just about to say, yeah, you buying your own books at that point.
Right. So, okay, I was only bringing that analogy up. How explain this to two people where you call it, they just make it per diem. Like, you don't ship out movies, video stores are closed. I don't even know how the hell you watch Tubi, to be frankly honest. Is it an app? Is it a service?
It's on your TV, bro. It's on the smart TV. It's an app.
But it's like if you got a smart TV, you got Tubi.
Okay. Yeah. I've never clicked it, whatever. You know what? But
I don't blame you.
I've never clicked it either, but I know it's there. I see it. No, Tubi makes their money by putting commercials in your stuff the same way YouTube does.
But I'm saying, what I'm saying, Dirty, how does the filmmaker make it, or they not making money? Is what you're saying?
If somebody the same way, it's YouTube, bro. It's YouTube for movies. They put commercials
All
in the
right,
movies.
before you click on a YouTube video, you're gonna see a Chevy truck commercial. That means that they paid YouTube money. So it's
Okay, I got
commercials
that.
on Tubi.
And-
It's commercials just like it's commercials on Hulu. You know,
Yeah,
Netflix don't play commercials because I guess they charge enough to where they don't have to. But you know,
as I eat my Grey Poupon, you'll have to pardon me. I have YouTube Premium. I don't see ads.
I don't see ads either on YouTube because I pay for the premium as well.
Look, man, I believe the Sir Tice has never seen a commercial. I see how you live, man. I see your Facebook, bro. This motherfucker.
Oh yeah, no,
all the time.
yeah, nigga,
Real,
you pay for that YouTube premium. You
I know.
bougie as hell. You
Yeah,
watching
Sir
YouTube
Tice is
with your pinky finger out and
middle-class
shit.
lifestyle, bro.
I'm getting my Grey Poupon. Don't interrupt.
Hey, man, Grey Poupon is actually nasty too, by the way. But go ahead, be great.
I disagree with you, man. But go ahead.
Hey, man, if you got the limousine to go with it, like the commercials, and I have nothing to say, bro. But it's still nasty. Oh, look, man. Back to the original topic, man. I believe that man was alienated. I believe that happened in a time in which you can move 2 miles away from your family and abandon them forever. I believe that that he casually wanted to know his child. And I mean that in all due respect. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Mr. Palmer. At some point, a lot of guys just give up. Like, I want my kid, but if you take my kid, all right, you ain't charging me for it, no child support, all right. You know what I'm saying? When he get older, he'll come back.
That's what it sounds like.
You know what I'm saying?
It sounds like he wanted to know. He wanted to keep up, wanted to be in his life, but it did seem like a situation. Like when he said his life wasn't all the way as stable as he would have liked it to be, he basically was saying, I wasn't in no position to be chasing her around the damn country trying to keep up with a kid. He just was like,
he had 5 other kids also. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He got 5 other kids, and she moved one of them from to the other part of the country. He just was like, hey, you know, it is what it is. So I mean, it do seem like he was kind of on that speed right there. So then,
and I don't knock him for that.
I mean,
look, now today, man, and I tell my mans in there because I learned this by observation and dealing with these toddlers, right? The worst woman to have a child with is a woman that already has a housing voucher, because they just kidnap kids randomly. Unless you Sir Tice. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to uproot your life to move somewhere else, but not Section 8 voucher chicks. They just move.
I don't know about the Sir Tice part, but dude, I gotta say this. You be dropping so many gems that just made me bust out laughing. What'd you say? Unless she got public housing, she's just basically you know, a baby making meal, then is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, but bro, think about it. If you can change, this is how easy it is for women. This is why. Okay, so a woman can move to another state, live in a shelter for 29 days, and get a free crib. They can have somewhere to live and be on a waiting list, get a free crib. They can claim that they're in an abusive relationship, and every single woman has been in an abusive relationship. If you ask them, you ask their ex-boyfriend, like, man, all I did was told her to keep her hand out of my pocket. But to them, they were emotionally abused, physically, psychologically, whatever. And if they claim it, they get a voucher. So then they can go on a website and just pick a crib and they're like, I think I want to live in Atlanta. Okay, cool. I'm in Atlanta. I think I want to move to Miami. Cool. Boom. They might not be in the best areas, but they can flip states like a 1992 dope dealer, bro. They just move around.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If she got your kid, you'll never get your kid, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, not much. I mean, that's true. That's true. You know, it was just interesting just hearing his thoughts on it. It was interesting that I was listening. He never referred to her by her name. He never referred to her, as Tupac's mom, or he always referred to her as Dear Mama.
So basically, like, she was she's the epitome of a jump off or whatever is what you're getting at. To him,
no. What I'm saying is he always called her Dear Mama. I think it was like a shade, like he was shading her.
Like think about think about as a man, right? As a man, men are very possessive, right? You will kill over yours, right? My car, my house, my kids. It's a sense of ownership that you bring duty and protection to, right? It used to be my woman, but these chicks are just horrible. So now they take something priceless. You can't put a police report out because the police gonna take the side of the thief. You know what I'm saying? You can't you can't physically go get your stuff back or you'll go to jail. So they take something priceless from you. All you can do is take that L. That's all you can do, right? You can fight a good fight, but unless she's on crack, all you're gonna do is raise your child support. So you're in a position where either you'll lose the kid or you'll lose your mind and lose your income and lose a lot of other things to try to get a kid there's no guarantee you'll get.
I swear to God, you said something the exact way that Corey Holcomb said it. I'm not saying you copied what he said, but that's exactly.
No, I didn't. I don't even listen to Corey, but I will say this though: if I hate when people call me the hardcore Kevin Samuels because I'm way more like Corey Holcomb or Patrice O'Neal on some these bitches just ain't shit. I'm not trying to bring families together. I believe in submission, and I believe that submission comes from overwhelming force. That's the tap out, right? You got to make a person submit. You can't ask a person to submit or love them into submission. You have to force submission. That's why submission. You got to starve them out, whatever the case may be. Smoke them out. So in that case, I've heard Corey before. I've heard a stand up, and yeah, I agree with him. But that's some Chicago stuff, I guess. Because Chicago, we have the worst. Nah, Detroit got some horrible women. Detroit and Chicago got probably the worst women in the nation, man.
Yeah, being a native Detroiter, I'm not going to even disagree with that. On that note, I got to bail. So good talking with you, gents. Have a happy Wednesday to the chat.
Have a good one. Have a good one. I gotta roll. Yeah, I was actually about to wrap this bad boy up at 2:00. So, but yeah, we kept the party rolling. Kept the party rolling. But all right, good people. All right, good people. We got to get up out of here. We got to get up out of here. I'd like to thank everybody for being in attendance today. Everybody who supported the stream. Rather you like, share, subscribe, or watch with indifference, do appreciate each and every one of you. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Peace. We gone.